scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, survivors of all ages. This is the Free Fire World Series USA Spring 2026, and it is the grand finals, baby. We are finally here, and I can't get ready to say these are your champions, right? Because Neptune, this time around, the stakes are even higher. We started off with 24 teams. We got rid of 6. We had 18. We got rid of 6 more yesterday. And now we are left with the 12. And this is what we have been looking forward to since day one, which is the cream of the crop. All of the predators of our competition in one lobby, slugging it out till we find our champions. My name is AJ. I'm the Mustachio, down here with the one and only Neptune, the gentleman Garcia, and we are your casters for the grand finals.
I'm real excited of this final stage of this competition. Though the days has been shortened, but the excitement is always building up day after day. The engagement is always like rocking it match after match. And I'm really looking forward to how each team is going to start and end this grand finals. Because as we called it, by the end of this day, we're going to get our champions, the one who's getting biggest piece of the prize pool, as well as getting ticket to EWC. So I'm really looking forward to that right now. And I guess I got ahead of myself right here. Because, again, we're talking about 30,000 US dollars that a team are going to split up right now. And those participants in the grand finals will be getting at least pieces of this prize pool.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we want to see, right? Everybody gets something, and every single match where you get to do a little bit better if you hustle and make the right decisions, don't just get you a little bit more extra flexing power, right? It also gives you a little bit of extra in your pocket. And like you called it out, Neptune, you got ahead of yourself, but for understandable reasons. We have been getting ahead of ourselves since the start of the competition. We have been talking about this. The winners will not just walk away with 10,000 US dollars, but those tickets to the Esports World Cup, where the USA can make history on one of the grandest stage. The grandest of grandest stage comes later on in the year in our global finals. But this is one hell of a good place to prove what you can do out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen a lot of teams, a lot of regions step up in here and show what they have to offer. And USA will be given that opportunity as well. And from what we witnessed so far, I guess they have that fighting chance. But a little bit more that needs to be done for them to be up top and they're up par with the rest of the regions. But let's take a look at the teams right now. Who is going to go into battle on this grand finals, and also those grayed out who have been kicked out of this competition. As you did mention, we kicked out 6 first. We went in and kicked out another 6. Now we have the top 12 in here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. And the top 12 have shown us, have proven to us that they have exactly what it takes to be a part of the top 12. Monterey Esports yesterday, one final second breakthrough run. Cartel Sir for sure kept us worried because it's one of the squads that we were looking out for, and then they were just not really performing. But then towards the end, they showed us something which is very impressive, that when we want to do it, brother, we can do it. And that's very scary, Neptune, because some other squads have been trying to prove match after match, day after day, that they can get it done. Are these underdogs who are unsuspecting going to take it all away today? We have to wait and see, man, because the format definitely holds the answer to all of our questions. I can't wait to see exactly what we have coming up. The match schedule for the day, I'm quite curious about it, because what are these maps that we will have to go through, Neptune? Because we have seen that not every squad has managed to find dominance in every single map we have available.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at it right now, we have potentially 8 games. Though we have 8 listed, but these are potential 8 games that we're looking at. And again, it's based on the condition that they will be playing right now is Champion Rush once again. I'm really looking forward to how they're going to treat it this time because I know that there's a lot of teams who manage to how can I say this? They've already managed to replicate what they have to do in grand finals, and we've seen that so many times from Vipex. But will they be allowed this time by those, as you mentioned, the unsuspecting team? Because they will be targeted, especially if they reach that 80-point mark.
Yeah, I mean, 80-point mark, and you are right on the mark when you start to talk about points because Neptune, the way we collect all of these numbers on the leaderboard is fairly straightforward, right? You hit the booyah, you walk away with 12 placement points, 9 placement points if you're in the second spot. You minus off 1 point for every single consecutive position that you take on the leaderboard, except the very bottom, the last 2 spots, 11th and 12th, gets you nothing. And granted that the numbers kind of, beyond the 5th spot dwindles down quite a little bit, you might think it doesn't make a difference. But in the grand finals, it makes a world of difference. It matters when you activate that Champion Rush condition. It really matters whether or not you get an extra slice of this prize pool pie that we're talking about. And obviously, the placement points are limited. But where you can go crazy is through those eliminations. And we know a few squads like Gaviota who love to go crazy on those eliminations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for each level, for each stage of this competition, there's always on top, and it's not just about getting those booyah, but also getting all those eliminations in. So I'm really looking forward to how they're going to get that a little bit early in the first few matches, and will they be one of the teams who reach that Champion Rush condition early as well to probably end the day with a bang if they get that booyah afterwards. So it's 2 conditions that the teams are looking for. Stay on top and make sure that they get that Champion Rush condition in.
Oh, yeah, and that's what's crazy about Gaviota's squad. They can hit big, they can get those eliminations, but only one squad has proven that they can get those booyahs consistently, and it is Vipex. And Vipex, my goodness, named well. Like absolute vipers, they are deadly out there, Neptune. Deadly because they can get the job done in a way which will give you a phenomenal advantage in terms of winning it all here on our grand finals. I can't wait to see more from our competition, man. We've gone through the point system already. Let's look at the booyah condition because we have talked about the grand finals rules, and this is a Champion Rush, baby. First of all, rule number 1, you got to reach 80 points, Neptune. And rule number 2 is simple. You just got to get the booyah, like I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. I mean, like the second condition is somewhat quite difficult, especially with the pool of teams that we have right here. Yes, you can reach that 80 points. We've seen that so many times being done in 3 games. But will the other teams let you get that booyah afterwards? You will be targeted. You will have targets in the back of you if in case you get there first. And we've seen that in so many times, not just in the USA, but also in other regions. And that gives more opportunity for the underdogs to catch up and also be the champion, despite of them slowing down the beginning.
Yeah. And again, back to the conversation where I was talking about how this season in the USA feels so different from the past 2 editions that we've had. Because in the past 2 editions that we've had, Neptune, we didn't have as many squads who were just insane out there with what they could do with the current meta, right? They have grown with the meta. I think one of our biggest problems with the USA was they were just doing whatever the hell they liked out there on the battlefield. And I'm all good for that because as a video game, Free Fire is really fun when you don't go like full on prioritization on your active passives combinations and overthink the process, right? I have a lot of fun on the game. But when you head on into a tournament, this gets extremely important. We've seen the effects on the other regions, and we were seeing, maybe this is going to be a problem in the USA. But they caught up in this season, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're seeing a little bit of adjustment already, and they should. They better be, catching up with the other regions as well, because there's not enough time. We might think that EWC is like far away, but no, it's only a few months away. And if they're not doing it right now, if they haven't done it even before FFWS USA, they might be a little bit too late. And you know how difficult it is for some teams to really catch up, despite of their chemistry within the team. If you don't know your opponent that much, then you won't be able to adjust against them. We've seen that in so many superhero arc, and this is what USA needs to do right now, just to find themselves first and then study their opponents to find their weaknesses.
You see, the question is, are you comparing them to the right thing here? Because superhero arcs, are they really true stories, Neptune? Because sometimes these players, they can live in their heads, right? And I totally agree with you, man. We do not have a lot of time to the Esports World Cup. It seems like, okay, 2 months on the calendar, we've got some time to prepare, but this year has been flying by. And if it has not been flying by for you, if you feel like this year has been going very slowly, I think you're not having enough fun. That means you need to play more Free Fire, okay? More fun equals time flying by. And in 2 months, we are going to be there, man. So whichever squad that gets the qualifier today, first of all, we know they are very capable because it's not an easy region to mess around with at all. Secondly, we hope that they are ready to go out there and prove themselves, because we have seen some teams freeze on the big stage itself, Neptune. So, I mean, it's so much of excitement awaiting us. We don't know what's going to happen. We say all this build-up for one team to go out there and smash it in 3 games. It could happen. This is the USA.
Let's see, though. Let's see. And before we go any further, let's take a look at the teams right now. The teams that would be part in here. The first 6 that we have right now. 0-1. I mean, we've seen them really pop off, especially in the knockout stage. I'm really loving how they're turning up this time around. They have huge potential, but there's a lot of things that still need to be done if they want to go against Gaviota's squad. That is also part in his. GCT Arrow, a team that, you know, similar to what Fuego did in knockout stage. I think they're just pulling our legs, even our arms, or our limbs are being pulled by some of the teams right here, wherein they are acting soft in the beginning, and then towards the end, when needed, they catch up in terms of points. Mia, though, and INV are one of those who I think just had a little bit of bad luck in last part of the group stages, even in knockout stage. There are some instances wherein they didn't win that much, but they did manage to get here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But these 6 are not just it, right? Gaviota as well as Fuego, you know they're going to be messing around with some squads out there. But I want to see this next page, which holds the Vipex Esports squad, who dominated our knockout stage with 4 booyahs, a ton of eliminations, with a total of 208 points. That is no joke at all, because Gaviota's squad that was on the previous page, who was close enough to them in terms of points, was nowhere near in terms of booyahs. And today is the kind of day where if you don't get the booyah, you have a very big problem. And, you know, just like the narrative of the teams on the first page, where you say they haven't been showing us a lot, they've been pulling our legs, pulling our limbs. First of all, I would like all of the teams to stop touching my body parts, because I am uncomfortable. Second of all, these teams, they need to just go out there and give it all. And I think they've been holding back for the right reasons, because this is just that kind of lobby, man. You will get ravaged. These squads know how to hot drop. And if there's anything we know about the USA, man, it is filled with hot drops. And today is the kind of day where hot drops can really mess around with you. YLS Sports needs to avoid it at all costs. Monterrey cannot afford a last-minute jump, because today is not about last-minute jumps. It's about getting up to the top 80 points consistently, and then hitting a booyah like you know you own it, right? And very few teams can do that. Obviously, Vipex have proven it, but I think Cartel Sir and Celtic, man, these guys, there's something special about these 2 teams, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just that they know exactly what needs to be done right there to be able to catch up in the points from the knockout stage, even group stages. But now, again, it's no more catching up. There's no more cut line. There's no more threshold. It's just that #1 spot if you really want to get that $10,000 US or get to EWC. So I'm really looking forward to them really hustle up in the beginning from first map. Overall, we want to witness magic out of these teams, and hopefully they get away from hot drops, because I guess they have enough data already to peel away from those hot early engagement and then just get themselves prepared towards the end. Get to the final circle, get as much points as possible, as well as the booyah that they needed.
Yeah, I mean, one would hope so. One would pray so. But like I said, this is the region which is so promising, so exciting, because there's just no way in hell to tell what is going to happen out there. You expect a team to avoid those hot drops. In fact, they are the ones hunting the other squads. You know, we have seen a lot of that. And because many of those squads, like GCT Arrow, like Cartel Sir, like, I don't know if I want to throw Monterey in there, because yes, they did perform very well in that last game. But I'm like, was that something you intentionally did? Because through gameplay-wise, I didn't see that out of Monterey. At least not yet. Maybe I'm waiting to be surprised today in this Bermuda map. But Cartel Sir, GCT Arrow, the way they go out there and so confidently execute some of these moves when they want to show what they're capable of, is very scary. And perhaps it will be proven down here in Bermuda as we open things up. The map that has blessed us with many an engagement, the most played map in our competition thus far, with an average of 81 eliminations. I want to see 90 eliminations, Neptune. I want to see above average performance today.
Oh, let's see, though. Let's see. I'm really looking forward to that, as we are looking at a flight path right now from the north, just next to Mill, and up to Rimnam Village. I think a lot of teams are already excited to go in this fight.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what we're talking about. I mean, Flash, I don't know if they are the target, the ones targeting YLS, but a lot of hot drops hasn't been happening. So I guess this is the unexpected thing that we don't expect from the USA.
No, hell no, man. Based on what I was saying before the match started, I expected this. Hot drops galore. Let's go, USA. This is exactly what I was talking about. Wireless up against Flash Gaming. On the other side, we even have Gaviota hunting down Monterey. Gaviota's dirty, bro. They know they can deal with Monterey. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. They go in there for the hot drop fight, but they better not bite off foot more than they can chew, because we already see King getting onto the elimination feed here, but the Monterey players getting a couple of knocks as well. As far as Flash will be concerned, dealing with the players on the side of Wireless has not been a big problem whatsoever. They have left Kenny running. Question is, can Kenny get anywhere safe? He's got a vehicle, and all thanks to the boosters now. But he's in a truck, though, so I don't know. It's got enough booster on it. You will be able to get away to safety. Man needs more coins, first of all, if he does want to bring the rest of his team members back. But can he escape detection? Because I think I saw another squad right in the compound result there.
Yeah, I mean, there's INV in there, and I think he also spotted, if I'm not mistaken, he does have that Arvin, so he can spot or use a binocular to spot out enemies in Mill. And I think he will be overshooting that. Probably head over to Plantation. That's the nearest after Mill, unless he's really bold enough to go solo against a couple of players in that area. So as we look into Vipex right now, I guess they are quite safe, but this is a saving grace for the player of YLS, because INV is already pushing towards Key Keraton, and they might be meeting up with Flash right now, and then the pickup or the revive has been done already for a couple of players, if not the full squad of YLS. So this is smart for them, and lucky for YLS.
I mean, lucky or brilliant play out of Kenny, because the man only had 200 coins when we last saw him. He knew exactly where to go to find more coins, because he sure as hell was not taking eliminations to earn that. So brilliant play, survivability as well as revival, understanding the map. But also, they also have to understand that there is another squad out there who's hunting down for points. It's Vipex hunting down the players of Wireless, as INV continue to see if or not they can put an end to Flash.
Oh, let's see if they can end the Flash right now. Ziel gives it a time turner. He couldn't fire back that easily. But let's see, though, a revive has been done. Yanzi right now will not be going down that easily without a fight or without a revive, and a recovery is also back in play. So we still have 3, make that 4 players out of Flash, and again, back to the drawing board for some of the teams right here, especially YLS. Back to 1 player for the team after Vipex eliminated most of them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it was a great play overall. Let's see if or not we can see that recovery coming through from the squad. Monterey getting that 1 revival as well, as they were initially pressured. But will Zama survive swimming across the battlefield here as the Fuego players are, well, they were not looking at him at all. Great. In fact, I think they saw him, but they were just hiding out there like, you should not see us because we want to rotate in peace. Teams like Fuego, they always focus on the initial looting phase of the game, not looking for big fights until we get towards that final circle net.
Yeah, I mean, that was the usual or the previous tactics of Vipex. They're not that aggressive. They delay their approach most of the time, preparing for the battle at hand, and then that's where they find it in the final circle. But unfortunately, YLS will not be finding anything in the final circle because they got eliminated early. But for Celtic Gaming, no joy right now, untouchable for the moment, but with the time turner not on him, it's still connected though with that basic therapy. Seems like Hugo would have an advantage, but he has been taken down. Celtic Gaming's already rushing in onto Carlos. RGS to be used to push him on the other side, but Vegas is going in for the flank, but he might not have seen Crippy in there. That might be the surprise against Celtic Gaming.
Oh, Vegas, beautiful play. Oh, the shot from afar. Crippy punishing with the VSK. Hugo had no eyes on him at all. Yavigod goes in for the finisher. Nobody's going to go in for that revival just yet, but it is Cartel Sir that is camping on the vending machine. So Celtic has to find a different spot. I expected a better positioning coming through from Hugo, but I guess Vegas just got a little bit too excited. It's not wrong that he got the elimination, but he put himself out in open grounds without getting info on the players of Cartel Surface, which was unfortunate for the team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Crippy was already waiting in there, but it's Hugo who was on point in trying to push him into the open. So I guess that with that communication, that's the reason why Vegas was just a little bit too aggressive in there. Well, let's see, though, if this is something that they can do as, I think, No Joy. Oh, Vipex being jumped by Gaviota. Gaviota almost taken down.
What a glue wall, followed up by a time turner. You can't touch them just yet, Wasan. You gotta wait for this timer to go down. Urix now pushing on in. This is Vipex up against Gaviota squad. A very early encounter between two titans. This could call the end for one of these two teams. King with the Mag 7 finding Wasan. Urix saying, I do not want any part of this. Goes in for the revival. And now Vipex has got that possibility to recover from this ambush. Gaviota M590 out of the hands of Urix. Perhaps can sort this out, but two Gaviota players running after him. Urix in a lot of trouble. Gaviota knows that they want this vending machine from them. As Pokozin gets taken out, the revival should come through in a second. Great play on the grenade. Double glue wall. Urix with the M590. Again well punished. And this is Gaviota squad biting the dust as they try to touch Vipex early.
Vipex right now, phenomenal in how well they work the timing and every approach that they have, especially Urix. We didn't expect him to be that aggressive in that point, but how he managed to pull in those shots up close and personal together with the coordination with Wason. But Gaviota is not out just yet. After Lucas High and Lopez gave opportunity for that knockdown to happen, Makuwin will be trapped in the container, but the deed has been done. Two of their players has been saved, and I think with that Morse, he might be able to get away.
Yeah, I mean, that was a brilliant play by Lopez. He knew that the nearest vending machine would be at Shipyard from Bullseye. On that revival, he lands directly at Shipyard to pull in the distraction, to keep the players of Gaviota busy for the rest of the team members to show up. They claim another life off of the Gaviota squad. Gaviota pissed the wrong team off too early, but I think they have bought themselves a little bit of time, a little bit of a breather. As long as Gaviota doesn't do anything crazy again, we can go back to normal pacing.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, if they can slow down a little bit, that would be a breather that they need. Cartel Sur, though, putting a lot of pressure on Mia right now. Earlier, we saw a couple of knockdowns being done by Cartel Sur because of Lightning Zone. But I guess the revival and recovery by Mia can be something that is somewhat called phenomenal because they know how to retreat and they have those zip lines to work with to get into the next phase of the circle and probably gatekeep Cartel Sur. So let's see how that would work. But Celtic Gaming, Creepy, there's no way to go out unless you go for a launch pad. And Creepy double backing in there to save another player who's outside the blue. That is smart, I would say, out of this player. But here comes Fury. Won't be able to make that drop because of the shots coming from Celtic.
I mean, wait, first of all, Crippy, what a good run that was. It was like, I've seen this on the internet. If a wild boar chases you, I don't know why would a wild boar chase you. If a wild boar chases you, you're supposed to run in a straight line and then take a sharp corner because wild boars cannot turn when they are running fast. Yes, you just learned something new. So the next time a wild boar chases you, that's what you do. That's what Crippy did. He ran straight, he played with his glue wall, he laid out the jump pad, and he went in the opposite direction. Those boys could not touch him. Crazy survivability off of Crippy. Yes, they did manage to fish a bird out of the sky, though, and Cartels are not going to be too tickled by that instant revive coming through. This is one crazy lobby, Neptune. We can't go back to normal pacing because the action just doesn't stop. Look at the conglomeration of squads right here at peak. It's going to be chaos in a bit.
Oh, yep, definitely chaos would be happening. Cardinal Soar is still being chased by Celtic Gaming. No joy! Shot by Hugo, and we thought that they are safe in the vehicle already. But the question would be, where will they be heading? Where is the next vending machine that's clear enough for them to go? Because it seems like there's no place to go with how each team is taking and guarding all those spots. As we look in the next phase of the circle, a lot of teams need to move, but Fuego and O1 is already in there.
Hey, if you are a believer, then you know God is good because Gaviota and Vipex might bump into each other again. That's exactly how the circle is positioned. We're about to find some hot action as both squads try to squeeze into this next circle. And the area around the zone of Vipex and Gaviota, the one towards Riverside, that doesn't really have a lot of compounds to play with. So they'll have to make a open grounds rotation as the circle is closing in. I'm expecting chaos from the two squads, Neptune.
Yeah, let's see though. I mean, Gaviota is the losing end earlier, and I think they were breathing a little bit, waiting for the perfect opportunity. They don't want to be that aggressive because they know that there's another team. Though they don't know it was Vipex, but there's another team that's going with that aggression. So as you can see, the rotation of Gaviota is going towards peak. They do have that zip line to work with, and then hopefully they are not spotted by Mia. And then with that, they can go for a rush or probably wait for the next phase of the circle, and that's when we see battle happening out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So Gaviota, they wanted to circle around towards peak, just close towards Bima Sakti Strip, but the area that they scanned out with their binoculars has got the whole squad of Monterey in there. Monterey might be easy pickings for them. Gaviota might have to choose whether it is Mia at peak or whether it is Gaviota. Question is, who can put an end to Gaviota, or will Gaviota be able to fish them out of the waters? Gotti finding no joy from afar. Cartel Sir, just a tad bit unfortunate, but dropping right under the bridge like trolls, waiting for the challenge now out of Flash.
Well, let's see if they will be going in for a flashy entrance compared to the exit of GCT Arrow. But the high ground from Flash, as well as the noise that they're making with that monster truck, I don't know if that is a smart idea, because if they don't know that Cartel Sur is in there at the bottom, then they might be caught off guard. As we look into the map right now, Gaviota already on Mia. But I guess with them spotting Monterey, they were forced to go in the farther side where there's a compound, and that's where they meet up with Mia. But the battle is not over. The time is running out, and they need to move. Dinocular spots 5. And let's see who gets those hits.
Dude, the Dinoculars scanned 7 players, which means that was used by Monterey. And Monterey's going in for the fight. It's a 3-way battle, and Gaviota is cooked right between Monterey and Mia. Mia now tossing out those names. Monterey getting the eliminations. McQueen up close and personal with the knock, but Gaviota's king got blasted apart with the M79. Monterey took a bet, and they won big time. McQueen, the final player on the side of Gaviota, as Cartel Sir checks out of the lobby.
Well, let's see. I mean, McQueen's the only one remaining. But as you look into the numbers of Vipex, there's also 2 of them. So the Giants that we were expecting might be on their knees right now. And let's see who's taking over the reign. But I'm really loving the aggression coming from Monterey right now. I guess that was a surprise that they didn't expect. respect Mia and Gaviota. So Mia was just hanging back in there, but they didn't get the timing to throw off Monterrey off their guards. But let's see, speaking of guards, Fuego, a team that was always on guard from the beginning of this match, 2 eliminations, a little bit slow for them, but they are meeting up with Celtic Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, we need to check out Vipex as well. They only have 2 more lives left. Celtic Gaming, on the other hand, getting pounded. Hugo, the final player left in here, playing outside the circle. Lopez XL, Vipex still actually getting eliminations, and the revenge on Flash. Unbelievable play by Vipex. They lost 2 players to them, but they played a part in eliminating the full squad of Flash Gaming. I didn't see exactly what happened. And the double revival! Holy Lord! What is happening to Vipex? This is a crazy play coming off of them.
Oh, let's see though. Man, that was crazy indeed. Let's go outside the zone to go for a revive, but they're dropping directly into Fuego, and I don't think that is a smart move from them. Fuego has full resources. They have been saving up, even despite of them challenging Celtic Gaming, but they have eliminated Celtic already, and Fuego is now about to deal with the final 2. Here comes Lopez XL up close and personal. Tiki didn't give him a chance, and Fuego goes for the 7th elimination. Only 1 to go, but there's far away, far from Fuego, and I guess Fuego would be untouchable for a few more seconds.
And who would have thought it would be Flash Gaming that messes with Vipex to dwindle down their opportunities? If it wasn't for those knocks that came through from Flash, we wouldn't have seen such a panicked circle play out of Vipex. Mia now continuing to pound down on the Monterrey players, leaving 1 final survivor in there, hanging on for his dear life. Monterrey looking for the placement points, but could barely find any. John Baby down on the ground. O1 Esports now on the approach. INV finds the circle first. They can now gatekeep. There's a Gaviota player right behind O1 Esports, but Gotti sorts him out, and Gaviota out in 6th.
So unfortunately, we're not seeing Vipex and Gaviota on the final circle, but O1 Esports in here putting a challenge on IV. And as expected, Fuego will be keeping their distance, just watching from afar and waiting for the opportunity. And let's see who goes down in the hands of Fuego, because they will be the target. INV, O1, as well as Mia, as they try to engage against each other.
Doris needs his Valiant Dash. He needs that to cook up real quick now, but he's just running at them with the M590. What kind of bravado does this Doris have? Wasn't waiting for his active skill to be revived, and he gets knocked out of there. You gotta wait for the cooldown, Doris. A great opportunity thrown down the drain. INV now with the numbers as they try to barricade themselves away from Mia. Mia makes 1 mistake, and Fuego's player drops Kappa instantly with the VSK, keeping Mia behind the tents.
Fuego is just watching a movie unfold right now, and while they're watching the movie, they're also shooting them down, not even moving an inch. Even the shift might happen, and it's still favoring them because they're out in the open. They are in a clear view of the next phase, especially with Carlos already on flank. And I guess with this, we are about to see Fuego take it home, unless Mia turns it around with a miracle, as Erica is still putting pressure. He has been the target of that cryo mine, and there goes INV eliminated, and this is a chance that Fuego has been waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, Mia, beautiful pickup. Fuego up against Mia. Player finding Josh very early on. Tiki on for the push, M590, but could not get there as Carlos and Player sorts it out. Fuego with the booyah. They annihilated the remaining players on the side of Vipex. They dealt with Mia Corp. They dealt with the final circle brilliantly with aggression, as the Gaviota squad, Vipex, did battle earlier on. Fuego maintained their silence, Neptune, all throughout the battlefield, avoiding engagement. And like you said, they were battle ready when Vipex got those revives and fell right on them. And Fuego said, "Ooh, look, free meal."
I guess that proves to show that whatever Fuego has been doing, and Vipex as well, has been doing in the beginning, does work. And this is what they have to offer. A booyah plus a decent amount of elimination. Again, a lot of people, a lot of teams are questioning if that is a viable tactic, if that really works. And you can see right now, they started off with 2 elimination. They met with Celtic Gaming towards the mid and then slowed down, not really engaged that much. And with that that 4-team battle that is happening, or 3-team battle that's happening far away from Fuego, with a player like Tiki, he gets information, he gets those knocks as well, and it's pure skills that we are seeing them getting that much from a distance.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, Fuego just built by a squad that has got amazing players. You see King in there. You see Player, who's such a brilliant sniper. But Tiki, Chino, King, they've been proving themselves out as great rushers for the squad. You've got Carlos sometimes playing on the team as well, who is a brilliant player when it comes to the CQCs. And I think that makes up for a decent enough possibility to get these booyahs. But Neptune, the way Fuego did it, I think, is that secret sauce, right? Because we see teams getting so aggressive, and we've been talking about this all competition long. You can do it in the group stage. You can maybe try it in the knockout stage, but in the grand finals, you got to be a little bit more careful, just like Fuego.
And that's one thing, though. I mean, the Vipex, previously known as Zeus Gaming, they have that signature of aggression. We've seen it, but I think when they failed and when the circles has been closing and the phase has been increasing already, it gives less opportunity for them to do that towards the end. Though they stack up on elimination, but doesn't give them that booyah that they need. So it's more of what Fuego has to do. And I guess with O1 Esports as well. O1 Esports is one of those teams who slow down so many times, and they did manage to find the final circle. But unfortunately, it was Fuego, Mia, and INV who stopped them. But again, Vipex, aggression, smart move, and coordination coming in team, just eliminating players from Gaviota.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know, the battle between Gaviota and Vipex kind of took a little bit too long in terms of attention from Vipex, because they shifted their attention very quickly into hunt mode, right? They could have just let it go, but they wanted to move compound to compound, looking for the Mia players, and that put them in a position I think they didn't really expect, neither did they actually plan for. And then the rotations post that became a little bit more difficult, because then you had the Mia players kind of spawning right behind them on those revivals, coming back for revenge. Didn't fit them well. And later on, Gaviota being attacked by Monterrey. I mean, that's another beautiful aspect of karma, right? They were going in there for the revenge. They did not expect to be sandwiched by Monterrey. And Monterrey today has been that aggressive squad that I appreciate. Usually they were playing passive. And I think like, if you are Monterrey, you definitely want to play this one aggressive, because you know, those passive plays usually keeps them towards the lower part of the leaderboard. Except the knockout stage yesterday, where we saw the aggression get them to the top.
And again, hopefully it's always like for Monterrey, it was last minute from what they did in knockout stage. Hopefully that doesn't happen right here, though. There's still a doubt that they can get that much points as possible for each match, especially with this fueled up teams that we have right now, like Fuego, Vipex, INV, Mia, and everyone else, like Gaviota squad. But let's see though who is topping the charts in terms of that game, and it's none other than Player with 9 elimination, and surprisingly no headshots out of that, but the damage says a lot. He gives out information, especially on that final moment, gets to eliminate them, but I guess the rest of the squad as well has put in so much in this fight. But with that Morse, Moro, Maro, Moko, as well as Rafael, the standard build that he has been using from the beginning of the group stages, knockout stage, and even grand finals, I don't think he will be slowing down as a team sniper.
Now, looking at 9 eliminations and 3.4k on the damage, I know that the rest of his team members are saying, bloody hell, man, you should have let us finish those players. He was getting in those final few shots, and we understand exactly why and exactly how, right? With that VSK, he is absolutely deadly. But I think the rushes were the ones who were very aggressive on the side of Fuego this time around. And if they didn't get in those initial bit of damage, I don't think Player would have been able to perform like this. At the end of the day, it is a team game, and Fuego is just one of those squads that plays this really well together.
Yeah, let's see though, as let's look into head-to-head right now. On to this next page, surprisingly, we didn't get a player into the mix, but a great balance between two teams, Mia and Flash. Nix and Uziel, we've seen them on MVP, if not the head-to-head so many times. I'm really loving that they are showing up right now, especially Mia, who did end up in the final circle, but Nix was, but Uziel was, their team was eliminated early, but still managed to get this much elimination. So I'm really looking forward to see how much this two teams put in onto that fight, because Fuego, we know for a fact that 9 elimination coming from a player is a lot already, and also I think they got what, 15 plus on the total elimination for the squad. But for these teams, they might be able to catch up if these two players can give out this much.
Yeah, let's check out the overall statistics here and see if or not this was a monstrous game, Neptune. It wasn't. It was below the average number of eliminations that Bermuda usually provides at 81. So it was a normal game. Fuego did very well in this normal game. 16 eliminations out of the 77. 40 headshots in total. So it's not just the MVP that was lacking on headshots. Everybody was lacking headshots in this chaotic lobby. But of course, it's the creme de la creme kind of lobby where you've got good players who know how to avoid those, easy sitting duck kind of headshots. So understandably so. Total rescues 37, 102 knocks, and 24 throwables used out there. Not big on the numbers this Bermuda is, but I am fairly sure we are going to see those big numbers when it comes to the match standings in a little bit, because Fuego with the 16 eliminations and the 12 placement points gets themselves a total of 28 points. Out of 80, I think that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot indeed. But surprisingly, Vipex got wiped out a little bit early, but 13 elimination made sure that they catch up to the rest of the squad. INV bounced it out with 8 and 8, and that's 16. Miacorp 15 overall. Celtic Gaming with 13. And they were being gunned down by the Fuego team earlier into this match, but before that, they did manage to hunt a lot of teams. So for some, it looks like early parts of this game, they were doing those a lot in terms of elimination. They're doing so much that they can catch up to some of the teams, but time is running out. Though I know we're talking about like 5 matches more if in case we go for that predicted end of this day. But again, teams are already stacking up this much points, especially for Fuego, and it only takes a few more for them to get that 80 points.
Yeah, man. And Gaviota's squad has finally learned that violence does not pay, right? Because they had the binoculars. They scanned out the compound. It was a very intentional ambush. Do they know who is at the receiving end of the ambush? They don't know. But because those are the kinds of predators they are, right? They saw that there were 4 markers there. They went in there for the take, and it seemed like they wanted those points. And usually they are very capable of claiming those points. But unfortunately, this time, it backfired big time, because at the receiving end was another Titan called Vipex, and they wiped them down to the floor. And the question is, in terms of survivability, Gaviota sent running, man, to another compound. I think it was a great revival off of Lopez XL. He stopped them there, calling for the rest of his team members. They tried to finish Gaviota there and then itself, but Gaviota showed that they were good enough to survive, but not long after that. So, a little unfortunate, but that's exactly how the cookie crumbles here when we've got the top 12 Titans trying to determine exactly who is the winner among all of them. Let's check out the match schedule just to get a little bit of a refresh as to what map we can expect after this. And it comes to Solara. I'm looking forward to this one. Solara doesn't give us a lot of averages when it comes to the eliminations, but what it does give us is absolute chaos, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, chaos overall. We've seen Vipex deal with a lot of elimination in this map, but Mia is the ones taking a lot of booyahs. And I'm really loving that those teams were part, or Mia was part of the final circle in the earlier match. Vipex, though, shows aggression. They did manage to get a lot of points. And that's where they have been stacking up all throughout this competition. But is this something that would stop, like Fuego, who did get the booyah already, to get as much point as possible to reduce the number of maps before they reach that 80 point, or Gaviota squad, who, from what you mentioned, the story that you laid out in there, has been failing in some instance,
Yeah.
and this might be another failure for them if they went a little bit too aggressive against more tactical teams like what we talk about. So
Yeah.
I would like to see Solara right now in a more in a different light, wherein they are using those slide rails more tactically, those compound more easily compared to like the past, wherein there's just going for aggression, going for the ins and outs without thinking what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, and as far as Fuego is concerned, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if Vipex, Mia, if anybody else basically except them wants to battle each other and ignore Fuego, they're gonna welcome that motion, right? Because Fuego, I think, is going to try to avoid as many engagements as possible. Yet again, we saw how they could have just picked a fight with Monterrey, right? But instead of picking a fight, they were hiding themselves away, hoping and praying that they do not get spotted in the earlier parts of the match. That is just a little bit harder when it comes to Solara because of the points you mentioned, right? Those slide rails instantly will put another team right in front of your face, and you have to take the fight. Let's see how Fuego avoids those engagements this time around. But of course, they can avoid a hot drop looking at how fair the flight path is.
Yeah, it is fair right now, and I think they are heading into Funfair. That's where they often drop, and there's no hot drop that will be happening in the hub right now. But TV Tower is one of those that gives more advantage for those waiting in this map, and I guess this is something that probably Vipex would be taken early on, and they might be meeting some of the teams right now, like MT or Monterrey, but as you can see, SKG already on the hit list, and that's a little bit too early, though. A little bit too early into this game.
I mean, but also Flash Gaming dropping right on the Fuego player. King, the coin's right in his hands, but three players will try to pound on him at the same time. Flash went in there for a hunt. They spotted out Fuego, and they singled out that player, and obviously that's not going to be a great start here for Fuego. Like I said, it's going to be very difficult to avoid teams on this map. Cartel Sir, understanding that statement very well. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. The rock is called INV. The hard place is O1 Esports. And that just means player after player, they are going to be losing those numbers.
And that's one thing. I mean, if you drop in a little bit early and you saw that your opponents are already dropping in just next to you, it will be difficult to turn into a different compound unless there's not there's little to work with right now. But we're seeing elimination happening all over the place, and I think Vipex has already felt a few of those wrath as well, coming from Monterrey and TV Tower. Lightning Zone has been triggered there as well. But as we look into 0-1, the pickup on Dairus will be done, but unfortunately Gotti will not be picked up. So let's see if he can be revived, but Cartel Sur has lost most of their players, so I guess 0-1 will be safe right now.
Yeah, I mean, INV saw that O1 Esports was there, and the instant decision that was made was, we want no part of this chaos, because obviously being the recipient of a third-party attack is just not fun at all. And INV knows that even if they win that fight against Cartel Sir, O1 Esports will have that advantage. They abandoned the site, and that left Cartel Sir in the hands of O1 Esports. And O1 managing to take a couple of points off of them, but the recovery is fairly quick from the side of Cartel Sir as well. You gotta love the grand finals, man. Look at this. Almost 3 minutes in, we have a full lobby still stacked.
Yeah, full lobby, but it doesn't mean that they were slowing down. We've seen early engagement, we've seen early elimination. Pickups has been done quite quickly as well, because as you can see, there's only 3 points that has been gathered in there. So I'm really loving how these teams has been like adjusting overall. They're not like putting their foot down and just waiting for the other teams to take them out. They are also trying to go for survivability, and this is what Kevin is doing right now. The rest of Flash, I would say, as they are just waiting for that opportunity against Mia. And Biblico might be able to spot Kevin, but I guess that windmill makes it difficult for him to be seen easily. So Kevin would still have the vantage point, but the distraction as well, or serves as a distraction as well against Mia Corp.
Now, let's see if or not Mia's able to get out of this little pickle. They want that vending machine for sure, but Flash has got that high ground advantage. Vipex up against Gaviota. The big Kings battling out again. King with a sliver of health left on him. Urix will catch up with him just in time to pick up his King. But Urix now has to face off against Gaviota, who has the M590 and could not save his buddy. King expires instantaneously. Gaviota coming back in here for a little bit of a revenge. Valiant dash through the glue wall, but Gaviota knew better. Gets away with a sliver of health as Cartel Sir drops by to say hello.
I mean, Urix being saved so many times by Lucas High, and it is Cartel Sur who saw him from far away, still being shot by Gaviota with that cord, and Vipex is in trouble. But that doesn't save Gaviota for a moment. The Wason is already in there in Aquarium, while Esno surprisingly got eliminated out of nowhere, and Gaviota, well, they had advantage earlier. Now they are running tails. So I'm really surprised at what's happening in the first 5 minutes.
And even Cartel Sir joins the players on the side. Monterey joins Cartel Sir. I mean, why in the world are they attracted to the aquarium, Neptune? Everybody wants to play here.
Bro, I mean, that's a theme of Free Fire right now, under the sea. So I guess that's what they're going for.
I don't know if you guys watched that, but you gotta be a big Disney fan. Lucas High bringing Urix right back in here as Cartel Sir and Monterey is under the sea. Flash Gaming, one guy got revived and dropped right at Aquarium. Something's wrong with Aquarium, man. Everybody wants it.
Yeah, well, let's see though. I mean, Zamas is wanting a lot more. A Penta already out of 6 elimination by Monterey. And Cosmo takes down Flash. Uziel has no chance. And I'm really loving this aggression coming from Monterey. Hopefully it's not that much because they didn't end up with a lot from earlier's match. But right now with 7, I guess they equalize already with the total that they have from the previous map.
Absolutely. And like I said, Monterey is just one of those squads where I'll say, yeah, you go, boy. You just go crazy. You know, Gaviota and Vipex, on the other hand, I'll tell them to hold back because aggression has not served them well. Monterey, like you pointed out earlier, made the climb at our knockout stage way too late, kept us all nervous. I think even they got nervous, right? This time they're saying, we will do it. We will do it from the very start. Just like how Vipex wants to do it from the very start, taking out one of the big contenders of that Booyah from this lobby early. But it's not a battle they chose to take. They're forced into this engagement. Next, beautiful shot by Lopez. M24, super accurate. Play's going to get picked up once again. But look at Wason just crouching around with a P90, waiting for his opportunity to jump in.
Yeah, I guess what they're doing right now is Lopez on the flank as well as Lucas High giving or pushing the rest of Mia against Wason right now. Hopefully Wason was not caught off guard right there with the rotation off those blue walls because Time Turner might have different approach. And there you have it, a knockdown onto Josh Bear. It's a good thing that the follow-up has been done. And we have one more player for Mia who might be able to get in for the revive. But they need to work fast because Funfair, where they are battling, is far away from the next phase of the circle.
Mamma mia. Here we go again. They're again on a revival spree here, Mia, after they accidentally touched the wrong squad. Monterey on fire. Holy hell. 8 eliminations. And they are now picking on 01 Esports. Baiwa, they say, as they pick up their 9th. They are on a roll, now dominating our lobby. They have not been tickled much, and Zamas is on fire now.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they are on fire. I'm really loving that Monterey is surviving all those battles that they have. Because, again, aggression is being seen definitely from this team. They're choosing perfect battles overall, though some might turn things around for them, but as they split up, or the way they're split up, they know that they can recover. And I'm loving the rotation as well. They don't go straight ahead onto the next phase of the circle. They go into the sides, and that's where they see the unsuspecting enemies, and that's where they go additionally all well with their aggression. But John B, though, I mean, a team and a player that we've seen from before, just waiting for the opportunity to revive the teammates, but there's not so much of a coin on him, so he needs to move far, far away from the rest of the team.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't stop by Eco Drain. He would have been snuffed out by GCT Arrow. He shot through the heart, and he will definitely be the one to blame because he didn't scan out the area with the binoculars. But it seems like he's not going to pay the price. Vipex, oh man. Mamma mia. I hope they don't go looking for a fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is turning into a musical
Oh, no.
rather than a cinema. Pulling out all the songs out here, but music is being heard
no.
out of those shots as well as
Oh,
the
no.
vehicles coming from Mamma
Oh,
Mia.
no.
Josh Fairby
Oh,
chased
no.
Lopez XL finally after multiple attempts. But let's see, this might be something that they might not be expecting because Biblico is on point already and waiting out who shot their teammate.
Yeah, Biblical said, please don't come here, guys. I don't have coins. I just brought the guy back. My goodness me. And Mia is now scrambling. Vipex with the 7 eliminations. They're just hunting, man. They just drove from one place to another looking for those vending machines. They just are expecting to find Mia players there. But thankfully, we have many vending machines out there on the map. And that was a good enough decoy for Mia. But they are spending way too long outside the blue zone right now.
Let's see it. I mean, the final player of Mia will be dealing with INV. When we saw John B as a final player, they were trying to survive. But I think they will be able to eliminate Josh Ver, and I think that is it. That might have been the end for Mia already, unless a revive has been done. Kappa is still there, though.
Yeah.
I totally missed that. Might be able to go to TV Tower,
man.
it is abandoned. So a revive will be happening in a bit. But Fuego not out of the fight just yet. Got spotted by Vipex and being forced in to Cardinal Tour.
Yeah, so great play so far from Mamma Mia. They are going to go again with a full squad. But it looks like Vipex just needs to keep their heads down a little bit here. Because right behind them is a team that could pick a big fight. It is Fuego, the winners of the previous lobby. Up against GCT Arrow and Cartel Sir. I guess Fuego cannot get too aggressive. But Vipex needs to find the circle. Fuego still teasing the GCT Arrow players. And they've got the zone already, so they don't really need to worry much. And the compound beside them is fairly empty. Gaviota up against O1 Esports, just outnumbering them and having a big advantage here.
Oh, pickup has been done on 0-1, but unfortunate for them, a bunch of Gaviota players is already on that approach, and they got eliminated a little bit too early though, but work has been made early into this fight by 0-1. 5 elimination, I guess that is enough for them to keep themselves afloat and probably in the run of that #1 spot. But for the rest of the squad, like Fuego, not really putting so much of effort, trying to get away from all those engagements, but they will be meeting up with INV in a bit. And it's GCTA who spots INV first. So with those shots, I think that would force Fuego to sit in the corner quietly and do what they do best, wait for the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Fuego is just waiting for GCT Arrow to make one big mistake here as GCT Arrow pays attention to INV. But they have to be careful as well because Mia has got their eyes on them. Getting too close to the very edge of this roof could prove to be very deadly. But thankfully, this is not Kalahari, so those players cannot get up to the top of the roof just that quickly for a surprise ambush. They can take advantage of this spot for quite a while before the next circle is revealed. And I sure as hell hope it pulls them out to the open grounds because we are going to have a slugfest now.
Oh, definitely slugfest indeed. INV has been waiting from that drain, and I guess they will be able to wait more, though we've seen a little bit struggle on trying to peek out of those glue walls, out of that pipe, but Fuego needs to move, and with a barrage of glue walls, they managed to get through, get away from the sights of Vipex, but Vipex has been hanging outside the blue even before the shift happened. And that lightning zone as well. A shot coming from GCTA is forcing them to hide out on the walls. So let's see if Vipex can survive because there's little chance of them to jump onto GCTA for that engagement.
Yes, there is. They just got a revive, and the revive player is going to jump right on GCT Arrow because they don't have a choice. But Lucas High gets shot out of the sky. My goodness me. That would have been a fun one, but Lopez from down bottom with the VSK fighting Palmer. Gaviota eliminated early again. Neptune, which has 7 eliminations in hand. That is unfortunate for the squad, but Vipex is back in action. The vending machine being right beside them at this eco drain, giving Vipex a great big advantage.
Well, they need to deal with GCTA right now. Faker did manage to knock down Lopez XL, but the conversion is not done just yet.
Wow.
And that would force GCTA to move towards the other teams. But Mia is waiting with that SVD plus VSK. Mia is already on to rush. Valiant Dash plus Mag 7. That makes Nyx a little bit more deadlier. And he is knocking down Vipex after Vipex.
Yeah, I mean, Lopez got him, but that was a sacrifice well worth it because Mia just went for the annihilation. One single revival this late into the fight. Lopez XL in trouble outside the circle. And the revive player looking for some sort of high ground that he can sustain on, but Lucas High gets caught by Faker. Lopez still alive. But with that, Mia puts the final end to it. INV now going in for a big engagement up against Fuego. Having two players struck down. Tiki with a God name. John Baby looking for one with the M590, but a great glue wall barricades himself from his opponent. And John B gets stuck from behind. King now with the God nade. Double on the God nade. Triple, but right in front of the glue walls. Those are not nades. They are just glue wall melters to bring down all of these defenses. And one thing that does go down is Fuego.
Fuego got eliminated in there despite of the patience that they have, and they have been taken down by INV, another team that has been hiding out of those drains. Now let's see though if Mia will have the same luck against their opponents right now, and I'm loving that Monterrey is still part of Final Circle, and they're the ones who were steady, the static, not moving at all.
Wow.
They don't want to engage that much, but they are putting so much of elimination from a distance. They were stuck in that place for the past 4 or 5 minutes, and now they're just waiting for any opponents to go to them because they still have advantage of that flick, of that shift.
Yeah, Monterrey is just going crazy right now. But INV might just be able to secure the top spot for themselves if they continue this performance. Look at Cosmo getting Mia, Kappa down, Joshua down. Minor claims that live. So INV with a positive here, although Monterrey trying to chip away at Mia at the same time. Cosmo might just get this one. Spots Carlos, instant shutdown with the AWM, but the pickup is instantaneous. And the rest of Cartel, so they back away.
Let's see though, we are seeing Monterrey in the middle of everyone else.
My
Mia
goodness.
got eliminated, and no one can go in for a flank against Monterrey. Even INV is being pushed back as the shift is about to happen in a bit. Cartel Sur might be rushed by Samaz. And let's see if Samaz will be able to hear them. There goes the push, and Cartel Sur from both sides. I think Cosmo was just a distraction, and still Cosmo is making that shot in the end. Monterrey, a monster indeed in this fight.
How? My question is how? How is Monterrey doing this? They were the Power Rangers, and then when they were quite average when they were Power Rangers, and then they had a name change. Instead of a power up, they had a power down, and now they're going berserk in a lobby filled with monsters. How is Monterrey doing this? 17 eliminations already. Thompson in hand. They want more, and they want the booyah. Here comes the split blitz from the squad on the opposite side. INV finding nothing with that, but they will find the Cartel Sur players one after the other. But it is not over just yet. Monterrey versus INV, 4v4 for the booyah here on our second game at Solara.
Yeah, I guess Monterrey is just living up to the name right now, being the King's Mountain. This is a difficult climb coming by the other teams. Cosmo almost being shot at by John B.
Wow.
But there goes the Valiant Dash, an instant knockdown right now. And the dance is on. John B is putting the music and also dropping the beat as INV gets that booyah.
Holy mama. INV Esports, 16 points in the previous game. But in this game, just through eliminations alone, they are on 20, and they hit a 32 bomber thanks to the booyah that they pulled to the other side as well. Neptune, we could just see INV activate that champion rush condition on this next game if we do not sleep on them. Insane performance coming through from the squad. And many teams who tried to go a little bit crazy out there got capped early, right? Gaviota got eliminated early. Vipex just had to go on this revival spree again and again and again. The other teams were just not having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, what's working right now is the patience play of anticipating the circle. Monterrey, like Fuego did it earlier. Monterrey is doing it right now, but I'm quite surprised that those aggressive teams like Vipex, Gaviota, who's aiming to get as much point as possible because of elimination, is failing to do so.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm being asked by chat right now to make a prediction, but with this alone, with 2 matches alone, it's making it difficult for us to predict anything.
The prediction that I have is we are going to have a lot of fun, guys, okay? It is just the kind of competition that keeps on giving. But Monterrey, I have a little bit of a different opinion, Neptune, that they didn't play like Fuego because Fuego did not have as many eliminations like what Monterrey did. They just topped it with a phenomenal performance here, very aggressive all throughout. Fuego farmed mostly in the final circle. Monterrey, they started very early, and this is the kind of performance that I am shocked by, because where was this throughout the whole competition? Now, I know we said this is what you can expect out of the USA, but I did not expect that out of Monterrey.
I guess this is something, a strategy that they have been hiding. And if we're not expecting it, because we're seeing so much from above, from the high ground, from bird's eye view, and we've seen all rotation with most of the team. And this is not what we expect from Monterrey, even from even when they were in the group stages. So I'm really loving that they're making the adjustment. I guess the communication right now is much better because of the number of games that they played.
Oh, yeah.
And Monterrey is not one of those that has even reached the top in terms of Solara. So I guess they know that for a fact. And they were just keeping their distance from everyone else, making sure that they listen to those engagement, keep an eye on them, and we've seen how well Samaz do the approach every time. Samaz is the ones who most of the time leads engagement, but this is one of the tactics that I'm talking about. On the other side of that pipe, the distraction is coming from Cosmo, and then the rest of the squad of Monterrey was rushing in onto the other side as well. Thus, they're making the approach very, very tactical.
But INV is the team that completes the run with the Booyah plus the 20 eliminations. And your MVP is the one and only Strix because of those shots. I mean, especially in that final bout of engagement, it was his snipes that brought Monterrey down to their knees. If he did not get those shots in, Neptune, I think we would have had a very different story in terms of the Booyah takers for this matchup. So props to him. Amazing play. And yes, he does have the typical sniper build with the active skill of the Moss, helping him be even more deadlier. The stealth bites helped him reposition multiple times in this game, keeping INV dangerous at all times. That Moko, Maro, Raphael, this is that absolute perfect combination if you want to be a sniper in the game at this level. And you know how we've been talking about how the passive skills are a little bit disjointed here in the region. Not for Strix. This is the perfect one.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, though, what would be our head-to-head right now. Will Strix be in there? Yes, definitely. But John, baby.
Oh, man.
Indeed. Showing up in there together with Strix, coming from the same team. Both of them have 7 elimination. Both of them has 6 assists. But in terms of damage, well, they're still putting up a lot. But you know how it is with a sniper. He can get so much of headshots in those fights. But John B's aggression is something else. He gives that opening for the rest of the squad, and even a survivability on one of the moments within that map wherein they could have been eliminated early. And this is just a great comeback coming from INV.
Ex-Zeus esports player, and John B definitely has shown us a lot of potential in the past, and he continues to shine on the side of INV as well. Let's check out the overall statistics of this matchup and see exactly how well did this match perform. Fairly well. Definitely giving us above average eliminations as far as Solara is concerned. 82 on the eliminations, 53k damage, 50 headshots, 42 rescues, 112 knocks with 23 throwables used. many of them just glue wall melters. Man, I wish those were grenades because they would have been devastating in that INV battle. But INV, still smiling. 20 eliminations strong, Neptune.
Exactly. But if those were grenades, Gaviota could have put a 1 or 3 out of INB, and they couldn't get that booyah. So that's thankful enough for INB, or not for them not being grenades. But still, I'm really surprised that some teams are showing up this time around wherein they were, I couldn't say invisible, but they were unseen from the group stages, not in any of our radars right now, to be able to top the board right here. But speaking of board, let's take a look at the match standings on who's getting next to INV based on numbers, and Monterrey with 26-17 elimination. I'm not undermining the booyah that has been taken by INV, but this is something else out of Monterrey Esports.
It's something else indeed. I think this is the best performance, best lobby Monterrey has played thus far in the whole competition. And they're playing it in the most lethal lobby with the top 12 teams of the USA. So I think this is beyond outstanding. It stands out. Mia Kong with a total of 18 points. I think a great run from Mia and a great recovery as well. Vipex, just gets pushed down a little bit in terms of the big bomb that they got earlier on, starting off the competition with, a decent amount of points for themselves. Fuego really got the booyah curse this time around. Neptune, we said it's existing in the USA, and Fuego's like, no, it doesn't exist. But let's take a look at the overall standings and see what the booyah curse did to Fuego. It pushed them down to the second spot, and the consistent INV that became untouchable this time around launches themselves to the number 1 spot, and we are not too far away from activating the champion rush condition for them.
Yeah, only 32 points is needed by INV to be able to activate that. If in case they will be bringing a break run once again onto the next map, they might be able to do it in the 3rd map and then get the booyah in the 4th. That is the most positive storyline for INV. But one thing is the consistency is on them, 100% on the top 3 rate. For Fuego, though, they're on their need to catch up with 13 points to be able to catch up on INV. Monterrey Esports is very, very close with Fuego right now. But Mia, I would say, has been consistent as well, because though they have been eliminated a little bit early, they are slowly catching up with the rest of the team compared to Vipex and Gaviota squad.
Yeah, I think Mia has been fairly consistent in the Bermuda and Solara back-to-back play, right? Picking up decent points for themselves. Vipex had a little bit of a dip, but it's not something that they're going to be too concerned about, because expecting INV to pull a 32-pointer match in this next Terra map, I think is asking for a lot. Is it going to be impossible? No. Is it going to be difficult? Absolutely. Because I think Gaviota is going to shape up a little bit of their gameplay after this, because 2 rounds of being aggressive, they are bound to realize that it's not working out. I think Vipex is going to be very careful as well, looking at, hey, wait a minute, why are we not hitting that booyah that we are usually able to guarantee out there? I expect a little bit of a slower play on Nextera for both of these squads, but when push comes to shove, Nextera does give a lot of CQCs, which Vipex is deadly at. So I do expect some sort of dominance out of them. INV needs to be careful because, they might experience that booyah curse as well. So
well, let's see though. Let's see. Booyah curse has been taken lightly by a lot of teams right there. They are just continuing on whatever they're doing in terms of aggression, in terms of position, but they're not really looking into how the other teams are taking it every time they get in the booyah. One instance that you grab a booyah, you will be a target for most of the teams. And where do they refer to? Their homework wherein they spot out what your drop is, where your rotation will be, and where should they expect you. Because they don't want you to end on that final circle. I guess that would be the theme overall, especially in grand finals, wherein the final circle would need to be, the teams need to be prevented in reaching the final circle, especially if you're the first one to achieve that champion rush condition.
Yeah, and I hope Vipex, teams like Miyakop, Gaviota don't get overconfident because of what they could do in the group stage. Because remember, again, Neptune, in the group stage, we had many teams that you could hunt down. And in the grand finals, on the other hand, you have 12 of the best squads in the USA battling out for that number one spot. If you get caught out in the wrong place, wrong time, even if you're Vipex, you're going to have the floor shined with your face. And we've seen that already. And it is a possibility that could continue to happen here if these teams don't start to play a little bit more careful. YLS, though, this is one of those squads, one of those underdogs that I was really excited to see performing in here today. We have barely seen any performance from them. Flash was one of those teams that got a little bit challenged as well. I don't think they did too well in the previous matchup in terms of placement points. And again, even in this game, they got eliminated way too early. Biggest difference was Flash actually was very aggressive in the previous match. They had a lot of eliminations for themselves. This time around, you don't see a lot from them. Only that two eliminations before they got eliminated early for the 3 points. And YLS 2 rounds in a row pulling that absolute zero. Something needs to change in the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, let's see though. Let's see if that would change at this point, because it seems like our overall standing is moving quite fast right now, especially with INV. And if they pull off the same tactics that they did earlier, they might be able to get like the champion rush condition. But again, as you call out, the next map would not be that easy. The next map would be Nextera. And we know how scrappy it is right now, with some of the teams grabbing as much point as possible and little opportunity of revive, if in case your teammates gets eliminated. So let's see, though, if the Nextera map would be scrappy, or will it be tactical, similar to what some other teams have been pulling up this time around in the grand finals.
When we go to Nextera, here's where Celtic Gaming has proven time and time again that they are the capable ones. And if Celtic Gaming goes ahead to prove themselves in this Nextera map, we are going to have a big problem here in the grand finals, because again, it's a different team boosting themselves up to the Booyah spot, which means if you are one of the other teams who's already doing well, you need to get to the final circle. You need to have fairly good number of eliminations to either overtake them or to match up to them to stay in the conversation of getting to that champion rush point first. But of course, getting there first means absolutely nothing if you cannot guarantee yourself a booyah after that. That's going to be the bigger challenge that's awaiting all of these other teams once we hit that 80-point mark.
Yeah, we're looking forward to them. Get close to the 80-point mark. I'm really looking forward to the teams as well to perform quite well in Nextera. Again, there's a lot of compounds to work with. We've seen a lot of gameplay as well. And as you called out, Celtic Gaming is one of those that prove that they can bring in a lot in this fight, but there's also a lot of threats that they need to work out, not only with the couple of booyahs that has been taken by Celtic Gaming. The aggression of Vipex and Gaviota, if they slow it down at the beginning, they might continue it on towards the end, and we know that they can pull it off, but let's see on how that works, as our flight path will be coming from Twin Bridge, heading in past Plazaria. Let's see who's going to drop in Intellect Center, and will there be anyone joining them?
Yeah, so yesterday, Intellect Center, Twin Bridge, Mortar Ruins was absolutely empty. The team's just choosing to pick, wild drops to challenge each other. This time around, YLS, and see, this is why you got to love a team doing their homework. YLS determined that yesterday that they are going to take the Twin Bridge this time around. And since Mortar Ruins was empty yesterday, they go in here with a split drop, which is going to make YLS a very dangerous team, but at the same time, a team that is in danger, because beside them at Zipway stands Vipex, and if they go out hunting, it's going to be a very easy job for them to get those 2-2 eliminations.
Speaking of eliminations, Monterrey already doing some work on Cardinal Sur, and they're treating this as a little bit of Clash Squad action. Hack and Alvaro Alvaro has been picked up quite easily. Hack has been picked up as well. And Cardinal Sur right now, I think they're the only ones who have some casualty, but it is Monterrey who will be stuck. They need to stick together to make sure that they can land those shots.
How were they getting tagged? How were they getting shot? Because I did not even see Zamas in a engagement, but he was losing his health. Now Zamas, little by little, those medkits kicking in finally. Cartel Sir with the revival, all thanks to the vending machine that is in this Necker Square compound. And Monterrey now trying to turn the situation around. Cosmo sneaks off a quick revival. Monterrey with this heated battle up against Cartel Sir. but they had to pull away from the compound. Things weren't working out. Celtic Gaming dropping by. And Cartel Sir cannot go for the chase and hunt down Monterey players. They'll have to deal with Celtic for the time being.
Now, let's see. I mean, Cartel Sir definitely will be trapped like Crippy right here. No Joy. I think No Joy is the only one remaining within the area, but there goes Hugo up close and personal, and he's not just deadly as snipe, even a Uzi, and he can go in a 1v1. Now, we still have one player from Cartel Sur, and there's little chance of pickup for Crippy right here. But on the other side, we have Flash taking down a couple of Mia players, and on the horizon as well is a 1v1 between Biblico and Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin and Biblico. Kevin with the cryo mine used already. He needs to wait for the cooldown. Biblico, on the other hand, usually the sniper could be a Moss in his hands. Oh, needs to reload at the wrong time. But my goodness me, he got that in time. Didn't have to reuse that cryo mine for anything. And Kevin with a phenomenal engagement. Mia now with the final survivor left in here. Nick's looking for a vending machine. Uziel knows exactly what's going to happen. They're trying to crowd around this vending machine to see if they can prevent this.
There's one thing that I'm seeing differently compared to the other maps. Monterey being eliminated with only one player. Same goes for Mia. So, again, it's topsy-turvy when it comes to a different map, or especially a map like Nextera. But as we look at a drop coming from all one, Flash right now might be able to take advantage of this situation, add more to those numbers, but it's not just them that they need to welcome. Gaviota would be flying in as well.
Yeah, Gaviota will be playing this one. Monterey still with one single survivor. Mia did manage to get that one revive there. Two more players still hanging on for their dear lives on this map. Off of that revival, I guess it's going to be a tad bit easier for them. Flash spotting out. Oh, one very slippery Gaviota player jumping in and out of the time turner. But they will receive that payment. The receipt comes very quick off of the Gaviota squad, getting a double knock, confirming those knocks to eliminations as well. And now Flash on the back foot. Gaviota looking for Kevin. How dare you mess with our team members, he says. And with the M82B straight to the chest. Gaviota, the dangerous one. M82B NVSK on a CQC. You got to respect that off of a sniper.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he was just being played around, and then he turned things around. He's the one playing against that final, or one player from Flash. But speaking of one player is left for Flash. But on the other side, we're seeing Celtic take down a couple, if not three players from Vipex. So Vipex is losing their fight once again compared to Gaviota, who's winning it. So they might be left behind after this game.
Yeah, Celtic's definitely one of the confident squads on this map. Already 2 Booyahs to their name. They know their way around, and they most definitely are very, very good when that confidence is at an all-time high. 5 eliminations now. Gaviota looking for a big fight up against INV. Glue wall melt is going to be laid out first, but that barricaded glue walls, those are just going to be keeping the INV players safe for the time being. King now with the Mag 7. What a drop by McQueen from afar with the Car 98. And one by one, the INV players getting snuffed out by Gaviota, who picked up their 10th elimination point.
You can see the confidence coming from Gaviota. Though they saw that cryo mine being put in, they were not distracted and prioritized and taken down the 3 players of INV. But 3 players that taken down means there's one surviving, similar to what we're seeing in Vipex right now. And I think this has been happening for quite some time. Though there's a survivor, there's limited chance for them to go for revive, and there will be more, or there will be less chances later on once the circle closed down.
Yeah, Flash is about to lose another player, unfortunately. Jan's doing everything in his power to stay alive. Kevin, Uziel, not too far away. GCT Arrow now in hunting mode, understanding they need a few extra points. Vipex with the crazy revival coming on through as well, booking a match up against the wireless players. We'll see that in a little bit. But as Flash tries to run away from a whole squad of INV players, this just is going to be a tad bit more difficult for one, because he's all alone here, Neb.
Let's see. I mean, one, the only one in this area. Now, as we look into the map right now, where the teams will be rotating, Monterey, a team like that we've seen survive so many times. Let's see if Hack can do it once again. But who's guarding Intellect Center? It is Fuego, who's trying to keep a distance from the rest of the engagement. As we look into Urix right now, who has been revived after the Lopez XL worked so hard to find a next vending machine with no contention. They might be getting into the boxing gym a little bit too early. That gives them more opportunity. But right behind them would be Celtic Gaming, and you know how it is. If you have Hugo spot the opponent, you might be taken down again, and that's something that Vipex doesn't want to happen.
Yeah, what I love about the coin machine is even if another squad goes ahead and loots it, you can still have a go at it. So Fuego is just pulling in the late rotations into these compounds, already visited by the other squads, and still getting a lot from it. Celtic versus Vipex. This is not good for Vipex, nor is it good for Celtic. Calvin down on the ground. Lian turning around with a car 98. The pickup not going to be possible there as Urix guards his body. Yavi God looking for one. Urix tagged up already. M590 better on the side of Yavi God. And he gets the instant revenge. Can the pickup be done? Yes, it will be. And Calvin back up on his feet. Vipex out of there.
Vipex will be out. They don't want to lose out on a lot of players. They don't want the second map, or what happened in the second map, happen right here again. And we're seeing Celtic Gaming a little bit too aggressive, though. Wason might be able to catch them, but a shot by Wason from the other side brings him into showing where his position is. But the back and forth has been happening between these two teams, and let's see if Vipex can turn things around. Here comes Calvin, up close and personal, but that turnaround with Max 7 helps him with a few HP. He needs to recover, and he's right next to another one who might be able to catch him off guard.
Yeah, Calvin just getting the revenge. How dare you shot me earlier? I'm going to get you right back. They went in there for the hunt, and they managed to cut off the rotation of the Vipex players. But Vipex, as usual, splitting up before the situation got tense. They did manage to pull a couple of revivals back, all thanks to Lopez XL. But the question is, how will they gather back up as a squad? Hugo now looking for one after the other. The players on the side of Flash in the jump pad, saving a couple of their lives. In the meantime, as they find their reposition, Hugo still tracking them, has got eyes on one.
Let's see. One.
Nicely
Shut down! The thing is, Flash is still safe, though. It is a revival mission that has been done by Juan, and hopefully they can get the next phase of the circle. But as we look into the other teams right now, especially with Mia, they will need to deal with two players in one compound, and they don't have that much of a compound to work with. But again, hopefully they can change their mind, get into next phase, because it is now closing from second to the third, and I don't think they have enough time to work on beating these two teams out. So they have to be patient. They have to be cautious as well of anyone rotating behind them.
Absolutely, man. And now going in for the fight here, Mia. Lost one player already. Still trying to force the issue here because they know that they are up against possibly opponents that they can easily snuff out. And they have to make that double back in terms of rotation because of that vending machine having to bring back one of their players. Monterey, on the other hand, not many on the eliminations, but hanging on for their dear lives.
Yeah, I mean, Rust Town is something that they can hide out from, but this is still risky. With 15 seconds from the third phase of the circle until it closes down, it is eating up on their HP. But for Vipex right now, a little bit of a revenge mission against Celtic Gaming. You go! And there you have it. The deadly sniper from Vipex is paying them back with 6 elimination, the full squad, but they need to move. And Celtic, they might not have enough other players, but a revive has been done that quickly.
Yeah, okay, revive has been done, but this circle is quite wild. And yes, as I anticipated, Hugo gets shot out of the sky. Mia is there. I mean, way too many squads alive on the 11th minute, Neptune. So a revive this late into the game is not going to be suiting these players at all. It's like fishing for players out of the skies, and Vegas gets taken down. Hugo gets revived again. Vegas annihilated by the Mia player. Yavi God brings Vegas back. Celtic Gaming again 4 players, but will they touch the ground this time round?
LSC, though, I think they are moving
man.
outside the circle, and they might have a chance to go for a revive. Gaviota, though, is not very lucky. They're
Nope.
losing 3 players already, only 1 remaining. Makuin once again, but they are in the middle of the lightning zone, also in the crosshairs of GCT Arrow. Not only that, as soon as they get into the next phase, or probably closer, they might be targeted by Fuego and INV. And this is what makes the ones holding the Bolt Maker deadly, because there's a small circle and a huge amount of teams in here that you can take advantage of every time they step outside of any compound.
INV, unbelievable as they were hunting down the Celtic Gaming players, but they did not get the job done enough times because Celtic is right back in here. 4 players strong once again. Even Gaviota is not out. Neptune, look at Makuin travel around. He needs more coins. He wants those revives. He wants his players right back in here. If Celtic could do it, Gaviota can do it. But this next circle is going to be deadly. That lightning zone teasing quite a number of players in here, as Gaviota only had enough coins for 1 revive. They are going to be challenged by those numbers. They need some big eliminations right here, right now. And Makuin finds Vegas. Can he confirm it? INV hitting on the players on the side of Fuego, not in the right way.
That's one thing. Fuego really needs another booyah to get ahead of INV, and INV is the one stopping them from doing so. I really love how INV is being aggressive up close as well as from a distance.
Wow.
But I think the chase is on, judging from how we're looking at it. And Tiki almost losing HP. But as we look on how low is trying to survive on the edge of this circle, the rest of the squad has been revived already. They need to get a place to go for that revive, or if not, they will be taken out. And as you can see, eliminated and taken out would be Fuego. But Low was not quiet enough to stay away from YLS, and Gaviota loses another player.
Yeah, YLS, obviously Low did well to stay low, but unfortunately the circle forced him in. They spotted his head and they went for it. Unfortunate for Low and unfortunate for Gaviota in the grand scheme of things, being tortured very early on. Monterrey, on the other hand, great position in this next circle, but Vipex approaching from on top of this bridge. Not under it like trolls. Yekol finding Wason from afar. Pick up easy inside the circle. They heal him back up with a heal pistol. That's teamwork if I've ever seen one.
Definitely. I mean, outside of Blue, you will be able to do that. Plus the team booster that help you recover or not lose HP that much outside. But speaking of outside, only one outside is GCTA, and they are losing a lot of players out here, where in each level is being taken by teams. One for Mia, one for Monterrey, another one for O1. But YLS is trying to join the party. And this is not a party house that you want to be in.
Yeah, YLS versus Vipex. I can't see Vipex, which means they might be on top of this roof, Neptune. O1 Esports inside. Monterrey eliminated already because this is his open grounds battle. Everybody wants a compound for themselves so that they can extend their lives out here on the battlefield. Mia looking for those points, now needing to break down all of those glue walls that they erected earlier on to keep the other squads out. They need to avoid the circle. GCT Arrow still alive and kicking. Where's Vipex? Have they been wiped out?
I don't know. We haven't seen them. They might be on the rooftop. They might be just hiding and waiting for opportunity. But Gaviota eliminated. The shift is about to happen. Vipex can delay this if they are on the rooftop and wait for everyone. But no, there we have it. They jumped out. Wasan has been taken down by YLS. And let's see if they can survive even further. But Mia is taking advantage of their position in the circle. And it seems like they are raking so much points in that chaos.
How is Vipex still alive? That is a survival gameplay if I had ever seen one. Find the reposition with the jump pad, and now maybe standing in contention for the booyah as the circle starts to move towards Vipex themselves.
Yeah, I mean, they did launch pad from that rooftop onto that open ground, and INV didn't spot them. Mia right now is the ones in trouble, but this will force INV to stop for a moment, deal with Celtic, and let's see who's going to win this fight, because I know this is trouble if these teams meet up, and they might not be ending on their final circle, especially with the bunch of teams on the other side of this map that can target them.
Now Vipex on top of the bridge looking for some easy numbers here. Lian finding some scurrying down on the open grounds. If any teams gets right under the bridge, perhaps that will be an advantage up against the Vipex squad. But as for the rest of them, they are in the Vipex crosshairs. INV, one of those squads.
Let's see, INV. Cryo Mind, good chance to chip up those HP, and they can deal with Mia as well as SKG or Celtic Gaming. But 01 Esports, Gotti, the only survivor out of the team, still managing to fight against the other teams, despite of Vipex just above them. So let's see if they can get that second place. Because of the chaos that is happening, 4 teams remaining out of this fight, and Vipex is in a good position to grab a Booyah. But as you can look, INV will still have a full squad right now that makes a double Booyah or a back-to-back happen.
Okay, I think INV has definitely shaped up some of their active passives combinations here alongside Vipex as well, because now we see almost all the players running an Olivia on their side. They've got the heal pistol, so that's a great big great big advantage overall. But the Tiva is the important one, right? Usually we see it in the hands of Hassan. John Baby running straight in with the Mag 7. Valiant dash. Could not break down any glue walls just yet. Lian taking down Manor as INV tries to come in here for the shutdown. Urix knocked down. Lian needs to go in for the pickup. Great glue wall. Around the glue wall though, INV meeting the players of Vipex and taking them out in third.
INV looking for the back-to-back, but a 1v1 with a great one, and it's Mia Corp who will be getting that Booyah, and the denial from by INB, and I'm really looking forward. I was really looking forward to INB to stack up with the points, and that could have brought them already to champion rush condition. But Mia says no, and probably that's because of all the songs that you pulled out cheering this team on.
Oh, I mean, Mamma Mia, indeed, man. I mean, INV Esports, they have been victims of the Booyah curse in the past, and they just played it so much more safer this time around, Neptune. You gotta appreciate the careful plays out of them. I think they try to stay out of trouble for long enough. Monterey kind of tried to pull the exact same thing here as well. But my heart goes out to Celtic, man. They had such an active match. They were getting those elimination after elimination. Just could not be involved in that final circle battle.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I was really looking forward to INV to do so, to get that final circle battle in. But we've seen how well Mia dealt with a lot of players as well. Even before that final circle, the elimination that they got was just so much because they're keeping their distance against the other opponents. And I guess whatever Fuego did in the first map is being replicated by a lot of teams right here, where that's giving them more points as expected. And I won't be surprised if Mia jumps above everyone else and gets close to INV.
Yeah, man. I mean, it'll be crazy if Mia could do that. But the grand finals here in the USA has never been this close before, Neptune. We always had just one clear winner. We always had one clear dominator in our grand finals, in the competition as a whole. But this time round, many teams fighting for it, and I think it's blown the competition wide open. There's no way of telling who gets to the 80 points first. There's no way of telling who actually pulls this off. It's going to be a drama all the way down to the end. And even Celtic coming across Vipex earlier on, that wasn't a fight that they could not take on. In fact, they sent Vipex running after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. To see Vipex running out in there. Gabi Yoda losing out a lot of fight, but I'm really loving that some of the teams are already catching up at the points like Celtic Gaming. They did have a lot of struggles earlier, but I think they're trying to get into groove just to make sure that they will not be left out. But is this enough? Would this effort be catching them or giving them enough time to catch up to the opponents? Because from what we're seeing, the number of points that they're stacking up already out of 3 games gets them closer to achieving the champion rush condition.
Yeah, and we were looking for INB to pick up 32 points. They got to the final circle, they got the second place, and I don't think they got so many eliminations where they're going to hit a 32 bomber, right? So that's going to be the only challenge for the squad this time round. But as far as catching up to the 80 points, though, I don't think they are going to be in trouble because they were close enough earlier on. They got to the final circle. They got that second spot. Decent number of eliminations. They are definitely as one of those squads who are in a heavy contention to activate the champion rush. But now the problem is they are not the only one who are close enough to touching it, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the Booyah that has been taken by Mia Corp. I'm really looking forward to how things are going to turn around, especially later. Will INV be that aggressive? Will they still maintain that passive approach, hide under compound, and get all those elimination in? Because that's what they needed earlier, but wasn't able to pull off. And also, the other threat that we have in the competition that is slowly building up, but losing all those fights in each map. So there's just a lot of storyline that's being unfolding right now. But let's take a look on how this is going to turn up after this map of Nextera. Let's switch over to our MVP right now. It is none other than Nyx. Earlier, he was introduced on a head-to-head. Now he's taking the MVP, and the number of elimination by this guy. That's 15 plus 6 on a headshot, 5 on an assist, 6,700 on the damage. And
wait.
Those 7,000 was the highest, but 6,700?
Neptune, you're focusing on the wrong record here. Who the hell has gotten 15 eliminations in our run thus far?
Yeah, well, I don't think no one.
Nobody.
10,
this guy.
10 was the highest. 10, I believe.
15 eliminations for Nyx. Yeah, I do not want to see who goes up on a head-to-head with Nyx because he's going to obliterate that person. There is just no way in hell someone. And if Nyx himself got 15 eliminations, how much did the rest of his team members pick up? I am now curious to see that this match stats from this game. But of course, let's pull up the head-to-head here as well because Nyx is about to blow this guy away. It's Hugo and great numbers off of the set. And we expected this to be a Celtic game, right? Celtic Gaming has already confirmed 2 Booyahs here, and they were doing so well at the start. Hugo hit the 8 eliminations, 3 assists, 3.4k on the damage, 3 headshots, but on every single department has been outshined by Nyx from Mia Corp. Mamma mia, what a great run, what a great performance here of the Mia player.
Yeah, that's one thing, though. We know for a fact that Nextera brings a lot of elimination, but not coming from a single guy. And this is quite a record that is being brought in by Mia Corp right now. And Nyx is one guy who did that. And from what we witnessed earlier, I think there's a lot of numbers that will be brought in here. Elimination might reach 100. And comparing to the others, this only shows that the teams are heating up in getting all those eliminations. So let's take a peek. 101, and we're not talking about Dalmatians here. We're talking about eliminations.
I mean, but Mia Corp is in the right team here with the black and white for the Dalmatians. 24 out of the 101. They had a damn good game. 24 plus the Booyah equals 36 points, and that is the record of the grand finals thus far. That's the highest point any squad has clocked in. I mean, game after game, it keeps growing. We had 28, then 32, now 36. Are we going to see a 40 bomber in this next match? Are we going to see 3 teams activate their champion rush condition at the same time? Because I know now, looking at how many points Mia has picked up, 2 teams are close to it. INV as well as Mia Corp. Let's take a look at the match standings and see exactly where INV stands. 24 points. Yeah, man. So not the 32 that we were looking for, but they can sneeze and go past that Booyah, that champion rush condition line. But of course, they can also sneeze and get snuffed out without any eliminations early, and that would be unfortunate for them. But we've seen that happening before, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. Now, decision needs to be made. Though we don't have overall standings right there. We're just looking at the match standings, but we know approximately how much is needed by the team. Will they be, especially for those who are close to activating the champion rush condition, will they be putting so much of effort in getting as much elimination as possible, or will they be slowing down because there's only a few more points that's needed for them to activate it, and then a Booyah afterwards? So that's just the dilemma that teams will be getting right now. So let's switch over to overall standings to build that storyline right now. So we're looking at INV Esports, only 8 points away from activating the champion rush condition. MediaCorp 3 points away from catching up to INV, and 11 points to be able to activate that champion rush condition, leaving Vipex, Fuego, Monterrey, number 5. All right. That is a surprise because I was expecting Gaviota's squad to be somewhere in that mix.
Yeah, I mean, Gaviota with 36 points, 3 games played. They have been cooked today in this lobby, and they are not doing the cooking, man. They are in the pot. They are being stirred. Gaviota's squad, I think the pressure is getting to them. They've tried their adjustments, but nothing's working out for them, and that's the kind of chaos the grand finals can throw you into, where some of the underdogs are out here performing like their lives are depending on it, and some of the top guns of the competition just can't seem to cut it just yet. But here's the saving grace. It's not over till it's over. Even if INV and MediaCorp is so close, it ain't over just yet. They can't close the competition in this next game. If Gaviota is the team that hits the 40 bomber, then they will then just be one step away. And all they need to do is in that following match, prevent INV or Mia, or maybe even Vipex, who might be able to activate it off of this game. They have to just stop them from getting the booyah. Sounds easy, very difficult in execution, but that's exactly how the cookie crumbles. Let's take a look at this next map and see which team might potentially have the advantage. We're looking at Kalahari Neptune, and this is where GCT Arrow is very dangerous in terms of points collection, but it's also the map where Vipex currently holds 2 booyahs.
Let's see though. I mean, we've seen those who are grabbing a lot of booyahs being taken down early. Celtic Gaming is 1 in Nextera, and that record, I'm the one who's going to do this. I know I rely so much on numbers, but the numbers that we have from the past would be thrown out the window right now.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the grand finals, wherein there's a lot of changes that's being done, a lot of motivations being taken by the teams right now. And looking at who's taken the lead, INV Esports, previously known from the past as 787, I think they will be showing up, that they will be a team that we are not going to forget. Because John B has been part of this competition with that 787 known team, and he's the one who's turning things around.
I am actually very nervous for the USA region right now because this is a surprising turnaround. This is just working purely off of adrenaline. I don't think I've seen the consistency like this out of INV coming through, the competition before. So when they take that step up into the Esports World Cup, will they be able to pull off the same sort of adrenaline play? At the same time, we've seen the consistency come through from some of these squads before. MediaCorp, part of those conversations, Fuego, we even have Vipex as well as Gaviota's squad, but they are having a few hiccups. Maybe they need to drink some water, Neptune, because we have a couple of more opportunities and they cannot miss out on it.
And speaking of drinking water, this is a chance for us to drink some water, get some coffee before we get into next game. We're going to go for a quick break. When we return, the grand finals of the FFWS USA continue. So we'll be right back.
scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count. And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show and welcome back to the Free Fire World Series USA 2026 Spring Grand Finals. We are looking at a few teams who might be able to reach a champion rush condition a little bit early in this competition, but we're also looking for some teams to catch up and stop them from doing so. But who will not be stopped will be us casters. I'm Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, together with my brother, the Mustachio AJ.
There ain't no stopping us unless we bite our tongue or the inside of our cheeks because we're talking for too long. It's happened before, man. I mean, it's it's the unfortunate hazards of being a shoutcaster. You need to drink your water. You need to keep yourself hydrated. And these players, they need to keep themselves motivated because I think the motivation from the group stage, the knockout stage, has now totally disappeared. They are not running on fumes. They are actually running off of desperation. You can see some of those moves. You can see some of those mistakes, which they're not trying to make. And then teams who have got nothing to lose, teams like Monterey Esports, they're like, let's go all out. And they are climbing the leaderboard like, you know, it belongs to them, right? They're taking ownership of their own fate here in the grand finals. And it's so exciting to see. But is it going to end this way? Will the top dogs of the competition really give us a good chase for the money here? Let's take a look at how much of money in total, because at the end of the day, $10,000 is a lot that they are fighting for, right? And that's just the number one spot. The schedule for the day, on the other hand, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, will show us that 3 matches have now elapsed and 1 more game to go. And this next one is going to be at Kalahari, where once again the snipers are going to be absolutely active, Neptune.
That's one thing, though. I mean, out of these teams, GCTA is the one who has been leading the pack in terms of numbers every time we look into Kalahari. But another team who will be in there on third is INV. 1 booyah from the past, from the previous days, but the number of elimination can bring them to close out and get themselves in the champion rush condition. But again, going back to the question, will they be doing that much to take a lead or make sure that they are in the lead, or will they do just enough to reach the champion rush condition and then just survive towards the next map of Bermuda to get that booyah?
I mean, you look at teams like Fuego, you look at teams like Monterey, they need about 40 points to activate what we call the Champion Rush, right? The grand final rules on Champion Rush is a very simple one. Rule number 1, you got to get to 80 points. When you get to 80 points, you get a little crown. You say that you have activated Champion Rush. That means now you're worthy to call yourself a champion, but you can only call yourself a champion after you get a booyah in one of your other matches, your consecutive matches right after that. And if you do not, if nobody hits this by the end of the day, we will look at the overall number of points collected by each squad. Are we going to get there? I don't think so. Because, like you said, 3 games in, teams are already almost on the verge of activating this champion rush condition. And on the other hand, obviously, teams are very capable of hitting that booyah, guaranteeing that booyah. Teams like Vipex, who have shown us time and time again that they're capable of doing so, I guess might be able to guarantee that for themselves if they are allowed the chance to get that, Neptune.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, if they will be getting that, that would be something that could turn things around in this competition. But the desert lands of Free Fire will be back in here, and I don't think we will see more of that towards the end. So they need to take advantage of the sniper's nest, which is Kalahari, especially Refinery, that's smack in the middle of this map. But we're really looking forward to the other teams who would be catching up, and you did mention about something that they will get for the teams who are close if they get that 80 points. Another thing that they will get is a target on their backs right now. So let's see if that is something that they can pull off in Kalahari and prove that the numbers are different. A lot of teams already in the south, and Mammoth will be occupied by both Mia and Monterey. Great target to be able to get to that 80 points.
Yeah, Flash is going to get cooked, man. They need that vending machine at the sub, or else their players are going to be absolutely obliterated. But what stands between them and the vending machine at the sub is another squad, and this is going to be a tough run for them. But first, the scan onto Monterey as well as Mia Corp. Kappa with a P90. Players on the side of Monterey rushing on forth and actually getting the knockoff of Mia. Next now with the mini Uzi looking for Zama. Zama's inside of his own time turner, and the hunt is on. Alvaro just ripping him apart, and Mia Corp just biting the dust as Monterey continues to be so impressive. And now Biblico going for the revival, but Flash Kevin from down below trying to stop him. Biblico gets the knock onto him, but Uziel gets there. Monterey, they have done the damage, and Mia just hanging on by that one revival, Neptune.
And that's one thing, though. I mean, we expect that Monterey would be deadly, but not this deadly in the beginning of the match. They are stopping Mia from getting that booyah in this map, but they are also stacking up in the points to be able to catch up on Fuego, Vipex, as well as these teams who are on top of the leaderboard. Flash right now, Juan and Yancy split up, but Hopes is still there. And let's see if they'll be able to revive the rest of the squad, as Mia Corp did manage to get one revive, managed to get away from Monterey, but the only question, though, is will they be able to get the full squad in?
Yeah, man, I have no idea how Monterey is doing this. They are on fire again. We have nothing to lose. Let's go for $10,000 and let's go to Saudi Arabia, says Monterey. Now Celtic Gaming, maybe a little bit of revenge here. It's going to be a God nade that looks for one, and they panic, run out. Yavi got knocked down to the ground. Alvaro traded on the other hand. Hack is caught out as well, as Hugo, the master sniper with the M24, gets it, and Cosmo with the triple revival. Monterey hanging on and will continue to play.
Yeah, well, I guess they are continuing to play, because from the way I'm looking at it, their final player was far, far away from the rest of the gang. I don't know how he reached that, but did survive and get back the rest of the squad. So we're almost full in the first 3 minutes, unless Flash decides to bow out with the final two players that they have right now. But the battle between Fuego and Gaviota is starting off early. And I guess with Gaviota, this is a good start to deal with Fuego first compared to the past, wherein they're dealing with Vipex, but they are not finishing the job just yet. And let's see if they can stack up all those points with the 3 that they have right now. They might be able to follow through later on.
Fuego will vouch for the Booyah curse. They have been cursed ever since they hit it, and they have been challenged in terms of finding those points out there. And now Celtic Gaming bumping into GCT Arrow. I cannot believe the numbers I'm looking at here, one after the other. Those numbers are being taken down. Fury striking back at Brian. Faker finds one off of Crippy. Cartel Sir being challenged as well as we speak. But Celtic Gaming will strike back through Kelvin. And GCT Arrow have not completed their mission. Oh no! As I say that, they do. The final player gets taken down. We are missing out a lot on these.
Oh yeah, I mean, Celtic Gaming is one of the teams that is quite well in this map now. GCT Arrow, another team that is topping the board, and they are almost taken down. It's none other by a Cartel Sur who's chasing them out. Outside of the first phase of the circle, and also outside of Mammoth. But Cartel Sur need to move fast. Faker has already made headway to hide out the next compound, and does have that hook gun to try and get away a little bit faster. But there goes the drop right now from one player, and surprise, lo and behold, GCTA are left with only one player remaining, but a good chance of a revive if in case he gets the discounted revival out of there. And there goes Brian back into play.
Yeah, back in. My goodness me, the teams that are going super all-out aggressive are not really seeing 100% benefits off of that. They are still being challenged. They're still being forced away to rethink their decision. But that's just splitting up all of the points here on the leaderboard. Everybody's picking up something, and now Monterey about to pick up a big fight up against YLS. Crazy went in there for the crazy dive into the group of Monterey players and put himself at harm's way. Alvaro going in for the pickup now. Yolkis with the prevention with the M590. And now YLS Esports forcing Monterey to rethink their aggressive ways.
Yeah, I mean, Monterey has gone down twice already. And even YLS is a questionable team that can bring it against them. But you can expect that from YLS. They had an opportunity to recover, to get into the grand finals, probably put themselves on the top of the board if they can do enough. But currently, before this match, they were at the very bottom. So I think they're rethinking their ways right now. Being aggressive is not bad, especially if you can play and enjoy these fights.
Yeah, YLS is definitely getting their rhythm back because in the first 2 games, they pulled nothing. They had 0 points, 0 eliminations, 0 placement points, 2 games in a row. The previous matchup, we saw them got 4 eliminations and just some placement points, Neptune. Maybe now they get to change their fate a little bit because they're already doing better on the eliminations and it's so early in this game. YLS definitely stands a chance. If they can keep up the momentum in that sort of aggression on their side. O1 Esports, just one of the teams that we haven't actually seen a lot of today. Very slow on the eliminations. They are taking a slow approach, which I don't think is faring well at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they need to slow down because they try to be aggressive, similar to what they've done in the groups, in the knockout stage, but they are being failed halfway through each map. So let's see if this slowdown might work for them. Though they had a decent amount of points already, but currently in 8th place before this map started. So let's see if that would be used to gather up on elimination latter part of this map. But Vipex right now jumping in against Fuego and Tiki being taken down by the Mac 10, and that disruption might be crucial to Vipex eliminating Fuego, but I guess they haven't found a final player of Fuego just yet who have 0 elimination at this point.
Yeah, man. I mean, Fuego is just not having a good run here, but they've already shown us at the very start of the day when they brought in the Booyah on Bermuda that they are here to absolutely dominate. But there just hasn't been the version of Fuego that we've seen in the past 2 games. And even in this one, they are challenged. But those revivals are coming on through. And YLS, the team that just went crazy earlier against Monterey, this time annihilated by Flash.
And that's one thing. You can go crazy. You can have a player named Crazy. But it doesn't mean that you can get crazy points out of this map. It's just unfortunate they might be staying in the bottom after this, and we might not see more of that, especially with how things are going with the other team on the top. Gaviota now is leading the fray with 7 points already, but as we look into the Booyah Takers, back-to-back Booyah Takers from the past, they are back in Mammoth and now targeting Cardinal Sur. And similar to what Junk did mention on chat earlier, they need to be stopped. Mia and INV need to be stopped to give way to the other teams to catch up. But I don't think that's easily be done, especially by Cardinal Sur.
Well, Cardinal Sur wants to say no Mustachio, no Neptune. We can catch them. John B down on the ground, eliminated already. Vending machine in Mammoth can give INV this boy right back, and Erica makes sure that happens. Got him with the CQC between 2 snipers and got him with the AWM up close and personal, giving them the extra checkout. Lotex bow with the prevention of revival, finding 2 players off of INV. O1 Esports throwing in a little bit of assist as well to see if they can stop the dominating INV from activating the champion rush condition for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you called out O1 Esports, and now they are showing up. And I'm loving how they turn things around against INB. Gaviota, though, still leading the pack with 9 elimination. And this is what they need. Show what they really are made of. They get all those elimination from the group stages as well as knockout stage. And this is where it really matters. Vipex is another team that's doing that. But the hunt is on as the next phase is going to show. Refinery might not be our final circle or next circle, but they need to finish off GCTA if they want to survive.
Gaviota just passed by John Baby, who just got revived and went straight out to Stone Ridge so that he can revive the rest of the INV players. INV only needs 8 points here to activate Champion Rush condition for themselves. They had 5 eliminations the last time we checked in on them, so they're just playing for placement points at this point of time. Mia, on the other hand, losing 2 players already. This is a tough fight up against Flash, who have suddenly woken up in the competition. Biblico says, not just yet, my friend, with the double revolvers, strikes him down, and now the hunt is on for Uziel and Yams.
And let's see, though, I mean, Flash is the one who often stack together just to make sure that their opponents will not have any chance. And it seems like the chance is losing out for Mia. If in case Yancy will be able to land this against Biblico, sniper against sniper, M82B right now against AWM, and that glue wall might not help them. A hit on to Yanzi, as well as the recovery revive that can be done. He is rich right now, and Nyx can be brought back in. Mia is not out just yet, but as you can see, the fight is still ongoing as GV Gaviota will be back in play.
Oh man, this is Biblico at his best. He just told Nyx earlier, bro, just die, man. I can revive you. And he did exactly that. Pulls Joshua back in as well. And Biblico is the main reason why Mia is still hanging on. But it's now up to Nyx and Joshua to find themselves on the ground as well as bring the rest of his team members right back in here. Gaviota already spotting the player who was just revived. And we need to check out INV, man. 5 eliminations so far. They do not have enough placement points yet, so they cannot get eliminated right now in the fight. Strix brings Erica right back into the conversation. INV still in the run to activate Champion Rush.
Bro, we have 10 teams still in, and we
Holy
are
mama.
on the 3rd going to 4th phase of the circle. And Kalahari is one of those maps where in this 4th phase might be big in the others, but this is quite small in this specific map. So they need to work fast because those snipers that they have been investing on might not work in a bit. And as you can see the map right now, a lot of stragglers outside of the zone, and the next phase has been shown, and it would be in the middle of nowhere.
Dude, John Baby is still on a revival spree, man. Reviving player after player after player. INV players just keep getting eliminated. And John Baby, now John Baby himself has been eliminated by the circle. But has he bought INV enough chance for himself? Menor out, Erica out. INV might have just gotten annihilated! Prevented! INV does not activate Champion Rush for themselves! What a turn of events! O1 Esports out as well, and Vipex striking from the back have not bumped into Gaviota just yet. As I say that, Gaviota gets struck down by them, and Vipex now 9 eliminations strong, looking for the booyah, but first of all looking to survive the circle and find the next zone for themselves as they might stumble across Gaviota and Flash. This makes that so much more difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult, chaotic right now, but INV, hearts goes to them, and hopefully they got the points in. It is missing a few, only 6 points for INV in terms of elimination. And the placement, though, the placement, I think they have enough. They have reached 80. They are 9th place right now. They are 9th place right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Holy...
I don't know.
thought they got eliminated before GCT Arrow because that's exactly what we saw on the screen. But it seems like that is Neptune. Now this is going to be a big problem because there's a big question mark in our heads. Is it 6 or is it 8? Because if it is 8, they might have just been able to done it. But the players on the side of Monterrey making sure the Mustachio forgets his grammar. Vipex still sorting them out. Monterrey out in 6th. And Vipex still alive and kicking, dealing with the damage off of the blue. Gaviota towards their left. Gaviota gets scanned out by a Dinoculus. Question is, where was it from? And everybody's going to get dragged out into the open by this next circle.
Yeah, definitely. It is out and open right now, so they need to have those glue walls invested. Kappa will not be able to survive because of the threat that is in there, which is Fuego. So another team that is in contention to get that champion rush condition is back into the question. But Fuego right now, a lot of elimination is not something that they're putting out right here, but they want to grab that Booyah just to break the curse. And you can see the shots out of everyone from Fuego. Even Gaviota, the pickup is instantaneous, and the target would be Cartel Sur. But the circle will be closing down, and they will be forced to get out in the open where there is no cover in a few seconds.
Dude, Gaviota almost approaching 20 eliminations already. And Vipex still alive and kicking. Looking for those big numbers. But do they have it on their side? Yes, they do. 14 eliminations. Urix picks right back up. And now they're circling on in. Looking for more victims. Gaviota, the next one in their crosshairs. Cartel Sur finds one for themselves. Wason hitting on them one after the other. Mans has got the AC-80 in his hands. If he had an AWM, I think the story would be a little different right now. Fuego up against Cartel Sur as they pick their fight. Losing one player, they choose to back away.
Let's see if they can back away that quickly. Vipex is the only full squad right now. Gaviota is also losing one more player if in case a pickup will not be done. And there you have it, a god nade coming from Carlos to eliminate Gaviota's squad. One more contender out of the picture, and a throw onto Vipex might surprise them as player tries shoot down. Body shot, foot shot, it doesn't matter. This current meta is working favor for the sniper, and I don't think they will be backing away in this fight.
Can you imagine now that the sniper, if he brings in the Iris, I think that would be game over in a circle like this, right, Neptune? Because you've got the extra armor penetration, you get to penetrate those glue walls. If you had the M82B, if you had the Iris, man, oh man, this circle would be a different story altogether. And now, the one and only king of a Fuego, Winchester in hand on that level 3, just going in for the pound after pound with those shots, looking for some sort of luck through those glue walls, finding one through Carlos on Crippy. King turned on, but here comes Vipex now from that lower ground, interfering in this battle between Cartel Sur and Fuego.
Let's see if Cartel Sur will end this quickly, because who's waiting on the other side would be Vipex, who is a full squad. When they thought Fuego thought they have been taken down already, they are still back into play and might be able to complete this with a lot of elimination point, and they did it. Vipex is back on the board, and they are getting that booyah.
Vipex needed 31 points the last time we looked at the overall leaderboard to activate this champion rush here for themselves. Question is now, how many did they actually get off of this game, Neptune? A phenomenal booyah for Vipex, and Gaviota's squad was trying to make that massive run for themselves as well, right? There's a big question mark as to how many they got for themselves, because they are so much closer now to that champion rush condition. All of a sudden, this could just turn into a 5-way battle for that champion. But of course, INV Esports, the question mark is still there. Did they activate the champion rush condition for themselves? We've got Mia Corp as well, who would have done more than enough in this match for themselves to get into champion rush condition, Neptune.
Yeah.
A lot of question marks in my head right now.
That's one thing, and that's one thing though. I mean, the question mark is really if INV managed to get the champion rush condition, but there's also a lot of elimination that has been gathered by Mia Corp, and they did survive a little bit longer. So I guess with how close they are against INV, they could have achieved it as well. But another question though is, despite Vipex getting that booyah, did they put in enough? Because they were a little far behind on leaderboard before this map started. And I know we're not disregarding the highlights that we have right now, but those questions need to be answered. I'm growing anxious right now on who reached it already.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely, right? Because of course the bigger question in terms of all of these matches is to see who hits the champion rush condition. Like I said, Vipex needed 31 points. No, 31 is a lot of points, okay? I was so focused on that chaotic action in that final circle because we had so many squads. We could not pay attention to all of those numbers. I don't know how many Mia Corp got, but I thought it was somewhere around the enough area. But INV was the team that was forced on revival after revival after revival, and they had to depend on their placement points. I didn't see them get that 6th elimination, but based on the leaderboard that we saw on the right-hand side later on, we realized that, okay, they got the 6 eliminations, but the placement point is still a huge question. And even up to this point, 10 minutes in, Mia was still alive, squads were still around and kicking, getting those big elimination points, and I'm surprised Gaviota did not fall here.
Yeah, I mean, Gaviota did manage to survive a little bit longer. They put in a lot of points in here, and I'm really, really happy that Gaviota is back in play. But will they do it again? Because given the fact that if there's, one or two who've already achieved the champion rush condition, they need to hustle really bad. Not only to eliminate those teams who have already reached the champion rush condition, but also to stack up the points to reach it so that the following map, that is where they can get the booyah and probably I would say, get that that championship trophy. So there's a lot of questions that's being thrown right now, a lot of answers that will show up later on, and I'm really loving this turn events for these teams. But before we go anywhere else, as this comes into a close, let's introduce our MVP. It's none other than King. And this is Gaviota's squad showing up this time with 6 elimination, 3 headshot, 4 assists, and 43.79 in damage. That Valiant Dash is still not being taken away. Now they have the Joseph, the J-Waves, as well as the Nikita, and you know how deadly it is if you have that M590. So King will not be dethroned just yet, especially in this match.
My God, Gaviota, they got eliminated so early, Neptune. They only picked up, I think, 7 placement points off of this game. But the number of eliminations they have gotten now is a question mark in my head. Because if King himself got 6, how much did the rest of his team members pick up, right? And we know that Valiant Dash has been doing great for the squad. Every single time they go out there, the Nikita is the bane of the existence for the opposite team members, right? That recovery is a little low. And with the M590, like you said, the man reloads this shotgun as if it is a assault rifle. That's the kind of shots that you see out of King. Let's take a look at the head-to-head as well and see if or not King maintains his fight against a team member, and it is not. So that gives me a little bit of relief knowing that Gaviota didn't go super crazy with the eliminations because nobody else on his side was as aggressive. It's up against Vipex instead, which now puts a question of how much did Vipex get? 6 eliminations on a fight here between King and Wason. They equalize there. Assist is a little bit extra on the side of Wason. The damage, of course, King takes the goal alongside the headshots. But, dude, this is such a close stat between each other on this head-to-head.
Yeah, and if we're talking about just 2 players from Vipex, that's 6 elimination from Wason, and then 9 for whoever he assisted. And that's we're just talking about 2 players. What more if we have 4 players from Vipex? And we've seen how active they were in that fight. So let's take a peek at overall stats right now, and I guess this has grown compared to the previous map, and there you have it. 108 on elimination, 71k on the damage. The knockdowns follow through, and even their rescue, especially with how INB has been reviving their teammates, and not only them, a lot of teams has been reviving back to back, especially with all of those engagement that has been happening.
Yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal game. So much of action, so many players still alive so late into the game because of those survivals that came through, and you gotta appreciate it. Gaviota enjoying 18 eliminations in total. That gives me a little bit of a decent answer how well they did. But like you rightfully pointed out, based on what highlight we got of that Vipex player on, in terms of the eliminations and assists, that's a minimum of 15 already between just those assists and his contribution. There could be a little bit more. So I want to see the match standings, Neptune.
Yeah, let's see the match standings right now. And INB, exactly 8 points. The points that they need to be able to get and activate the champion rush condition. I guess I was not hallucinating when I said that they had 2 on that placement point. But looking at Mia Corp right now, a little bit higher compared to INV, and those are the head-to-head that we have when we saw the overall standings earlier. And with 14 points, I think it's not that much in terms of gap between them. And I think Mia has already activated champion rush conditions as well.
Yeah. Oh, dude, at this point of time, INV has to kiss whoever who eliminated GCT Arrow, right? Because the eliminations happened back to back. If it was just one guy who had just been taken down a little bit earlier, then GCT Arrow would have that extra placement point. INV would be really, really bothered right now because they went in there for the safe place and it was not faring them well at all. And we expected 31 out of Vipex, which was a very big expectation. They only got 30. So instead of INV missing it, it's Vipex that misses it as they go all out. Let's take a look at the overall standings. Miyako has activated Champion Rush. INV Esports has activated Champion Rush. But Vipex 1 point away from doing so. And this is a big mind game thing right now, Neptune. Are they going to be able to hang on? Because now Vipex has got 2 tasks. Number 1, stop INV as Miyako from getting the booyah. Task number 2, get points for yourself. Don't be annihilated early. But I think, task number 2 is easily solved by Vipex. And then, of course, they have to consider getting the booyah in this very 2 games from now, providing they succeed on mission number 1. It's a long list of items for Vipex. Miyako and INV, on the other hand, dude, they just need a booyah. That's easy.
Well, let's see though. Another task grid. If Gaviota squad is intending to catch up to them, it increases the odds because like MiaCorp, INV, Vipex would be the target, and we know that they are, especially Vipex, they have been slippery from game number 2 up until this moment, and it's just unfortunate that they missed out on 1 elimination. They could have activated that champion rush condition already, and we know for a fact that they can grab the booyah as well. So I don't know. It's a good story for the other teams because the story would continue with 1 more before Vipex will have to get and focus on that booyah.
This could be game over already, Neptune. Okay, because when it was INV, I wasn't very confident that they're going to be able to close this game off. Of course, INV can prove me wrong on this next game. Why I'm very concerned is MiaCorp is very good at finding their way around Bermuda. And the last game that we saw on Bermuda, which was at the opening of the day, where Fuego got their booyah, MiaCorp almost did it, right? They got that second spot, 9 placement points. They got close. So if they get close again, but this time pull a wrap on the competition, we could be ending our matches on game number 5 after this. INV and MiaCorp, but of course, a huge target now has been painted on their backs. I expect to see a hot drop because this is the kind of region that gives us all those hot drops.
Yeah, let's see though, as we introduce the map schedule right now to see where we're going to land. So we've done with the first 4 already. We're getting in Bermuda. Your story does coincide with what they have shown so far. Second place on that previous Bermuda map can be achieved right now by Mia if they can be silent and deadly all throughout that path into the final circle. So that's one thing that they need to do, but INV needs to do the same thing. And what other teams need to be doing right now is hunt these 2 teams so that this competition will be prolonged a little bit and they will have that chance.
Let me up the ante a little bit, right? I said MiaCorp was in that second place. But who was in the third spot? Who picked the third spot in that Bermuda match? It was INV. Okay, so you are going to have this next game in the court of INV and MiaCorp. If nobody hot drops them, if nobody disrupts their play, well, good luck. We are going to end the competition. They are going to get their ticket to the Esports World Cup and enjoy a good meal today because somebody's buying dinner. They're going back home $10,000 richer unless somebody can stop them at Bermuda.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that the mask would say. And that is something that we want to see as well for this day to continue. So somebody stop them as we step in to where it has begun. This is Bermuda. The green grass of Free Fire and flight path would be from Riverside heading into Mars Electric. And the teams right now will need to be cautious, especially for INV, who's being hunted. Same goes with Mia Corp. And INV already dropped into Mill, but I don't think anyone would challenge that because from the last time it happened, INV is the one who won that battle.
Well, let's see, man. INV, nobody's touching them at this point of time, but of course, O1 Esports has a great opportunity to rotate in. Vipex has, I think Vipex will be forced to rotate out towards Mill because of the unfortunate position they're going to be put into right now. Everybody's going for peak, and we've got a crazy drop here at peak. Cartel Sir, Fuego, Flash. Vipex already lost one player, and this is going to be messy. Cartel Sir is going in for the chase.
Yeah, look at the chase by a full squad, and this is deadly right now for Vipex because they're 1 point short on grabbing that, and if they get eliminated without responding, then they will have another. They will need another map to be able to get that champion rush condition. Confirm it. Confirm that elimination, just to make sure that you get that point. But I think Vipex will still continue to try and survive. And as you can see, the map right now, or on the sidebar rather, we have two teams who have activated that champion rush condition. So we don't want to see them in early engagement just like this.
It depends on who you ask, bro, whether or not we want to see them in an early engagement. I think many people want to see them in an early engagement. INV now have to deal with a little bit of pressure, and it's up against Monterrey, the unsuspecting underdogs of the competition here in the grand finals today. It's going to be an opportunity for Alvaro to show up, but he shows up and gets shut down by John B. Hack's going to get caught out by 4 players as well. Minor claims the life this time round off of a assist. And YLS has got Yolkis here looking for the vending machine. Yolkis, you might find a destructive John B. On the other hand, M590 Valiant dash straight to the opposite side. John B misses the first opportunity. 50 HP, and Yolkis gets it with the Mag 7. He needs the revive. Minor now, contender number 2, and he shuts down Minor as well. But Yolkis finally found by Erica and that ice grenade. Strix will find the revival, and now YLS in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, I'm not expecting INV to be this active right now, but J. Cole might be able to spot out and take down Minor before Erica does something. It's a good thing they put in a lot of glue walls, but J. Cole is not stopping. And Time Turner, perfect timing indeed. And let's see if INV can end them. Only one remains for YLS, and I'm loving INV's getting a lot of elimination just to make sure that if they don't get this booyah, they are still on the top of the board.
Oh, dude, YLS, they could have gone in there for a revival. A little unfortunate as to how they pulled that off, but they still do have one more survivor left in here. And you gotta appreciate the kind of show INV is putting, because that almost got very messy. With John B saving the day finally as he re-entered for a round 2 where he got the knockout punch. Vipex 2 eliminations in. Just a little bit of trouble on the horizon, but nothing that they could not sort out. And from Pochinok, there should be a little bit of a clear venture in looking for more of those coins before they bump into anybody else. But Fuego was right behind them at Mars Electric earlier on. So that could be a battle that we can look forward to, Neptune.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, if they can catch up, or probably if they will be active, just to make sure that they can catch up the points that they need to activate the champion rush condition, then Fuego might be able to go in for the hunt. But with what Vipex has offered so far already, they've activated, or with 2 points, they've activated the champion rush condition. But let's see if this is where they will be going in for a fight.
I mean, the Fuego player just got shot by one of the Vipex players. And it looks like Vipex might just be going in for the shutdown. Lopez finds King as well. This is Lopez XL raging on alongside the rest of his brothers. They saw Then one player off of Fuego being revived, and on to Mars Electric they went, and it brought the hunt straight out. They want bled. Tiki now taken down. Vipex going in for the finisher. No vending machines for the players on the side of Fuego to depend on. They are caught out, circled in. Lopez finding Carlos. Wason about to find player as well. This is going to be the end of Fuego as they get overwhelmed, but player keeping the team alive. Drops Lian. Player, the unbelievable play off of him. He's going to keep Fuego alive and kicking for the time being. Can he pull off a miraculous stunt here? As Wason now finds him, but my God, what a turnaround that was.
It is a turnaround, and a revive has came in onto Fuego, and 3 players is back, and player was just a distraction. I don't know, I guess the split and the revive did happen instantaneously, and we didn't see it happen as they are being chased by Vipex, but 6 elimination with Vipex already might be good for them, but Fuego will need to be a little bit more silent, though we still have plenty of time before this map ends into the final circle, but it seems like everyone is getting hungry, especially with 2 teams already in contention of being champions.
Fuego, what a play by player. Bro, and now they've got a full-on squad revival already. I mean, I am just stunned by what player did there. He got the shot onto Lian. He pulled the 180, and he almost took down another player off of the side of Vipex. That slowed the pace down. The revival came through. He got taken out, and the squad was saved. My goodness me. You got to love the brilliance out of the team. And YLSC as well on the revival spree. Full squad once again.
Oh, I'm loving that teams are not only being active, but also doing their best to keep their team alive. Vipex right now, from Mars Electric, after going for the chase against Fuego, will now be back in factory, or back into the circle that will, they might stay in factory unless they hear gunshots, but with that shift of the circle, they will be forced to go in. Celtic Gaming staying and soaking in Rimnam Village. They might be seeing Fuego right now, who doesn't want to go in any engagement currently, and we know the tactics of Fuego. They want to be silent and wait for that opportunity wherein everyone was just distracted, and that's where they get elimination. But speaking of elimination, 0-1, the elimination leader of this map right now, going for the chase against YLS, who's outside the ball, outside the blue right now, and being split up.
Yeah, but I also saw on the elimination feed, Gaviota taking down the INV players one after the other. John B has been found. Minor has been found. Gaviota, did they get it done? The players on the side of INV being obliterated as 0-1 Esports on the opposite end picks up some deep points as well. Can INV survive this one? A player bleeding out. Strix flies away. Is he going to get a shot out of the air? Gaviota trying, but Strix, I think that one survival jump might have just been it to keep him in play. Kings going in here for the hunt, trying to end the run of INV right here, right now. There is a vending machine available, but Strix made a great jump onto the bridge, and another jump pad, and out of the spot he goes. King doesn't have the gun to take him down just yet. Strix on a survival play. Another jump pad, maybe. As Gaviota just circles around to make sure they strike off every single vending machine around the area off of the list, as Celtic Gaming now meets up with Fuego.
Well, Strix is in trouble, but did put up a good show. It's not just an ankle breaker, it's a mind breaker as he go and try to get away from the opponent. But Fuego right now, a team that is trying to get away from opponent, will need to deal with Celtic Gaming. Lightning Strike is already in here, and will they be able to stick it against Celtic Gaming, who has been passive as well, similar to their own strategy. But Lightning Zone is something that they might turn things around. INV eliminated, and they lose the opportunity to be the champions out of this map.
I am going to... The Observer needs a earful from me for taking that away from the Mustachio. The great chase of Gaviota looking for INV, who could have ended the competition. We did not get to witness the demise of Strix. but the job has been completed. INV does not get to end the competition here, and it is all thanks to Gaviota, who are now leading with the eliminations. Fuego gets taken out of the run as well. Unfortunate for them as they try to look to activate the champion rush condition for themselves, Neptune.
Yeah, let's see though. I mean, Gaviota has been very active, but here comes Vipex introducing and knocking on their doors, and either one of these teams might be going down. There goes Wason with the AC-80. Here comes the Wason with the M590, goes for the charge, and the pickup can be done on Urix. Now, 10 elimination already. HP's being eaten by that zone, and Maku Win managed to pull away and survive.
Wow.
The sole survivor? Probably not. Gaviota has been revived as well, so they can still roll into this fight. But Mia Corp, I'm really looking forward to where they are, because they are the only ones in contention of that championship in this current map, and they are being passive right now with 0 elimination.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely passive. We haven't spotted out Mia Corp just yet. We'll have to check in on them. Gaviota squad, the ones that prevented INV from running away with the competition, they are in a little bit of a pickle as well as they try to revive. They just lost Low as he was brought back into the matchup. They want to have the numbers out there. Lopez finds King, eliminates him as well. Gaviota might have played their part to stop INV from ending the competition, but they are going to be stopped in their tracks as well as they try to activate the champion rush condition for themselves. They need 29 points, Neptune. They need to get to that final circle.
Let's see though. There's a lot of points that they need right now, and if they can pull it off, then they will be the next target by a lot of teams. But as we look into the field, we are seeing Flash going against YLS as well as Cartel Sur. Mia Corp being silent, well, not silent anymore, especially the M249 coming from Josh Fair, trying to break down those glue walls and putting pressure on Celtic Gaming. Well, all that pressure might be turned around in a bit, and that's something that Mia needs to be cautious of. If someone out of this team decides to turn around and face Mia, they will be taken down, not just by one, but probably a couple of teams.
Well, Mia is currently sitting in graveyard. not a good spot to be camping out, man. You know, your tombstone could already be prepared already. Look at the position Mia is holding on to. We'll scan that out in a little bit as YLS sets this fight up against the players of Flash. Mia on the opposite side, and they do have the advantage for the circle as well. Celtic's going to get in there first alongside O1 Esports, just purely through luck. Gaviota jumping on in. King, led by Gaviota himself. I don't know how is Gaviota doing this confidently.
Yeah, I mean, Gaviota is trying their best to go in for the fight. But you can see from the other side, even in the elimination feed, we're seeing a battle between Cartel Sur and Vipex. And it's Cartel Sur who's winning all those gunfights.
Oh, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, only one remains. It's Lopez XL. And will he be able to pull off another miracle? But YLS right now, feeling the wrath of Flash. A squad wipe has been done. And Flash, with their flashy way, on the edge of a circle, eliminating a squad, and now we are left with 8.
Yeah, both Flash and YLS are far away from activating champion rush condition for themselves. Maybe they can make a little bit of a difference here. But of course, it's still far away. We need to see more hustles. Vipex on the other end, they just needed to sneeze. They needed 1 point. They're overdoing their mission right now with 14 eliminations. But I think they're warming up for a Booyah, Neptune. Maybe for a back-to-back to finish this off in a phenomenal fashion. They're leading the leaderboard right now with the most numbers of eliminations. But Mia Corp still standing outside the circle. As you can see there in the mini-map, they need to get into Graveyard. And they send out a double UAV first to scan out the area just to understand what's the situation out there. But the situation is just open grounds against 3 squads.
Hell, I see it. I mean, 3 squads is a lot if you want to get in, especially with how chaotic it is. But Vipex right now, I think I'm understanding what is being done by Vipex. They're trying to get as much elimination as possible. If in case by luck they meet up with Mia and eliminate them, or if not, they get the Booyah and prevent Mia in getting that championship. So I know that is hard. I know it's difficult, but I guess it's a good plan indeed, especially as you don't know exactly who you're facing in the field.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, they're just blind shots out there. Monterrey still alive and kicking, but only through Cosmo, who is on fire, by the way, today. I mean, tons of eliminations from him, and now even in this match, he's got that 6 clocking in it already, but now picking on 01 Esports, who can snuff him out. Flash Gaming from the back, looking for the approach. Celtic up against Mia Corp. That could be a big fight as well. But speaking of big fight, Vipex had the big fight in them earlier on, but now just too torn apart to really put up anything up against 01 Esports here, Neptune.
Yeah, it's a full squad of 01 going against one player of Vipex. Yurix trying to get away. Here comes Flash as well on the other side. Gaviota has been eliminated. Lopez has been taken down. And Yurix is the only one remaining for the squad of Vipex. And it's not looking good for the team as Lodex Bao just turns around, shoots him dead, and they are out. 6 teams remain. And we still have Mia Corp in here who might throw everyone to a surprise. Celtic Gaming's very close on them based on the minimap, but the battle still continues with 01 Esports trying to take down Flash. And there goes Celtic Gaming with an M79 annihilation.
Holy Lord. Dude, Mia Corp could get this done. Neptune, Vipex has already activated the champion rush condition, but now all they can do is just sit and watch fearfully because Josh Berry just showed us what he can do in that final circle. He's got the M79, he's got that grenade launcher, and he can annihilate multiple players all at the same time, and that's exactly what you can get here out in the open grounds. Here comes the lightning zone as well. From who? From Mia, and this is trouble for everybody else out there on the battlefield. They get to avoid them. Circle's gonna be on the side of Mia on top of everything else, and Kappa is decapitating with those grenade launches. But Mia is still on the board. I have got no idea why we only see. There you go, Mia. Don't make me panic, production.
Oh my goodness. Flash and Cartel Sur, one player for Cartel Sur, and this might be it. It might end here. Nades are being thrown, cooked, and it will bring them down if in case it hits them hard. But this is what Mia has been waiting for. They're saving up all these resources, not wasting it along the way. But now, with everyone close to annihilation, they might put themselves as a champion.
Dude, Crippy's still alive. Crippy could be the one thing that makes the difference here.
Oh no.
Attention goes towards him. Josh Ware, man, he's got enough grenades for the whole world. And Crippy finally knocked down by that Valiant Dash. Cartel Sur is out of the way. Now Flash Gaming, they've been upsetting everyone. Can they upset Mia as well? It's a 3v3. Josh Ware, Kappa with a Mag 7, but you cannot allow Mia to get close enough because those nades will come raining down, Neptune.
Oh, let's see though. I don't think anyone will have a Steffi right here to defend themselves out of nades, but Uziel being active together with Kevin, and he's not alone anymore. And they are confident for that fight, but Kappa with that AWM plus Biblical with a VSK is bound to end this. Only one contender, that is Jens, and Mia will be looking into grabbing that throne and being the champions. And I think AJ, this is about it.
This may just be about it, man. What a unsuspecting ending. And Mia Corp, your champions of the Free Fire World Series USA 2026 Spring. In the most unsuspecting fashion, Mia Corp has done the impossible. From 15 points in Bermuda, 18 points in Solara, and getting the booyah at Nextera and putting themselves in the competition, in the conversation. They did not allow anybody to stop them. Even Vipex could not do it, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough right now for the other teams who's trying to catch up, but Mia has put in so much already in this fight. Imagine looking at the team that ended 5th on the phase 1 or on the group stage, and they are 4th on the knockout stage. We were not expecting
No.
this aggressive, active team to activate the champion rush condition early and survive towards the end to be the champions of FFWS USA. But here we have it. This is Mia, who will not be missing in action. They are the ones in motion, and they will be our champion and getting the ticket to the Esports World Cup.
My God, what? Dude, every single thing we said about FFWS USA has been absolutely true. That even the Dominators could be stunned today. But we got stunned indeed. Mia Corp out of nowhere. Used to be known as Tambris Esports. They were exciting back then. They are exciting right now. And they waited for this opportunity. Just in the previous game, they activated Champion Rush. And to walk into their very next game, play the careful strategy and survive. I mean, INV was trying for the same thing. They were not as lucky.
It's tough. It's tough, really. INV was just... like, they were so aggressive, INB, I would say. It's because they're trying to make sure they're in the top leaderboard, but they're aiming for the wrong things. If they did manage to stay away from all this engagement, like what Mia did, they could have ended in the final circle. And we could have seen a battle between Mia and INV towards the end. But no, INV says, we want to be active, we want to stay on top of leaderboard, but they were not expecting that Mia will do the reverse of what they're thinking. And even with a threat like Gaviota Squad, Vipex, even Fuego, who are being taken down a little bit early, they were not faced at all. They know the timing that they have to work with, and this is it.
And INV got cooked a little bit too early. They got stopped. Mia Corp, on the other hand, was undetected. Gaviota was active. Vipex was active. They were all looking for the activation of the champion rush condition. Gaviota, they heated up too late here in the grand finals, Neptune. And obviously, they're going to be very upset because, you know, dominating run all throughout the group stage, dominating run all throughout the knockout stage, but they just couldn't wake up when they most definitely needed to perform. Vipex a little slow as well. I mean, very aggressive starts, but that turned against them. And this actually, you know, is a very big warning to anybody who's aspiring to dominate the scene in the future. You still have to be careful because it's a deadly, deadly lobby, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, things turning around just like this, what makes it even deadlier. With the champion rush condition, we know for a fact that other regions has been taking advantage, the dark horses as well as those who are not putting that much of a fight are taking advantage of the champion rush condition. But Mia Corp is not one of those. We know that they can fight, they can put in numbers. It's just how tactical they have done it. And you did mention they were Tambris Esports. They were phenomenal in FFUSC. We keep shouting their name, their team name in FFUSC, but now it's just that they want to be the champions. They just they built that experience as well as everything that they've learned all the days that we have in this competition, and it just all adds up.
Neptune, look at this. What we haven't been seeing from the other teams, the Tiva-Olivia combination on Mia Corp. You know, and this is exactly what we've been saying. And look at every single player on the side of Mia Corp. Their active passive skills, we were talking about how everybody needs to catch up with the meta of the other regions who have been dominating Free Fire competitive. And this is the first team that I'm actually seeing it on this final match on the highlights, just coming in here with that perfect combination. We have just seen many teams kind of stacking the Olivia without the Tiva. And sometimes with the Tiva, without the Olivia. And we're like, hey, you know, you are underestimating the lobby. Mia Corp did not underestimate the lobby. They showed a lot of respect, and they have proven that you don't need big numbers. You don't need big eliminations all the way. Because look at who's on the highlight. It's not even a player from Mia Corp. It is from Monterey Esports. 6 eliminations from Cosmo, 1 headshot, 0 assists, damage with a 2,841. The catch-up is definitely there, right? You see the snipers all understanding their active-passives combinations. But it's the rushers and the support players who haven't really found that rhythm in the other squads that Mia Corp has succeeded with this time round.
And that's one thing, though. I need to mention about active and passive skills, and that comes to with whatever decision, whatever strategy you have.
Yeah.
Cosmo right now. You can see that Suzy into play. And earlier, we've seen how well they keep reviving their teammates. They
Correct.
know that those coins are very important if in case they want to catch up in the points. And I believe that even Monterrey did manage to catch up a little bit in terms of point with how they worked this out. But I'm really looking forward to who is going against Cosmo right now into the head-to-head as we introduce Uziel. 6 elimination, 4 assists, 24.91 on damage. So this is the second placer from that previous map who, like, as a team, did manage to get 13 elimination. And this only shows half of it which has been grabbed by Uziel. Active this team or this player is.
Monterrey was shockingly active and shockingly impressive today, but Flash was the opposite, right? So it's a good finisher for the grand finals. At least in the final game, we get to see them wake up. But it's one of those teams that were very active during the knockout stage, and we were thoroughly impressed with what they could do, Neptune. It's unfortunate that they could not ramp up and, you know, continue the momentum in from the past 2 days of the knockout stage. But in terms of the numbers, the head-to-head is looking fairly well for Uziel here. Better on the assists, but of course on the damage and headshots department, Cosmo takes the goal back here to himself. Let's take a look at the overall statistics and see how active or passive this game was, because we went back in here 99 freaking bomber on Bermuda, and you know, we expected this to finish in a very different way. And what a chaotic game this was. We see so many different teams in the highlight, and now O1 Esports is the one with the most number of eliminations.
And that's one thing, because probably it's the desperation that is being felt by the other teams. They were left out on, like, getting the champion rush condition, two of which managed to get it first. So the desperation made it made some teams a little bit more aggressive. Those who were intended to be silent, like Vipex, because they need only a few points to get that champion rush condition and probably hunt down MI, like Mia, didn't do as such. They are still putting in so much of a fight. Thus, they were eliminated early, giving Mia Corp, or paving the path for Mia Corp to survive and get that booyah.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, you got to play the meta. You got to respect the meta. Mia respected the meta for the last game. Let's take a look at the match standings. On this most chaotic game of the whole grand finals, Mia Corp ends it with 24 points. But what's more important is that they ended it with a booyah as one of those teams who already activated the champion rush condition, bringing the competition to an end. Flash right below them after really having, you know, quite down performances. They make the jump right back up, and this is that phenomenal opportunity for them to really prove that, you know, you have to look out for this squad in the future competitions as well. Monterrey, even though they are not on the left hand side of the board, you still see 15 points. Everybody trying hard, but some of the teams who were already close enough, like INV, man, this was a rough game for them.
Exactly. I mean, being targeted early, and that's one thing. You were at the top, you get the target painted at the back of your backs, and that's one thing that some didn't anticipate that would happen. They were so aggressive as well. They were so into it. Vipex was one of those as well. And what I'm seeing right now, based on the number of points that Vipex has, they could have, they might have achieved the champion rush condition. And as we switch over to the overall standings, I think this will paint us a better picture of how the teams went. Vipex did reach and activate the champion rush condition, but they failed on stopping both teams, both teams, INV and Mia Corp. Because if I'm not mistaken, Gaviota squad is the ones who eliminated INV, but they did so much, but it's not enough. Even after that map, they will not get enough to activate that CR.
Yeah, absolutely correct, right? And Gaviota squad on 76 points. But I want to talk about a little bit of the journey of INV as well. They started off decent on Bermuda, 32 bomber on Solara, and then they went on to a game where they were just 8 points away from activating Champion Rush. And that was the previous game. They got exactly what was needed to activate the Champion Rush condition, but we could already see that their change of strategy wasn't working out.
Yeah.
And they continue to perform low in this Bermuda map as well. We were talking about how INV was in the second place for that first game. Just didn't work out in this particular situation for them, right? In the overall grand scheme of things, this chaotic game has kept things alive in the USA, and MiaCorp will be the representatives for the USA region at the Esports World Cup. So happy to see that, Neptune. I'm happy to see this because even though there was a lot of chaos, even though it was not the teams that we were actually expecting, it was still a team that was very capable, impressive in the previous season.
Yeah.
That means we know that we can depend on them for some sort of consistency. Impressive this season as well, because not flexing on the big numbers, but just going in there for a guaranteed booyah in a systematic manner. I think we can bet big on them for the Esports World Cup later on.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing's for sure as well, with the changes in meta right now that has been happening before EWC or Esports World Cup happened, hopefully they make that adjustment quite well. Watch the other regions, find out what their weaknesses are, what their strength is, and if they can inject that into their own style, then they will have a better fighting chance. It's not that we're saying that they don't have fighting chance, because we're seeing that adjustment overall from this competition itself. But there's still a lot of things that is happening, and hopefully, when they get introduced in EWC, they don't end up at bottom. We want to see them on the top of that leaderboard, if not the champions of EWC, and that's a great introduction to the USA.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My only concern is the current meta is the meta of the snipers. And we've talked about many snipers so far in FFWS USA. Biblico is just one guy who... If I recall well, the highlights that we have given him is just in fancy sentences where, you know, he got a biblical shot. I don't even know whether that's a accurate way to describe a gunshot. But we haven't seen him really step it up like Lopez Excel, like how Lucas High does it, like how Hugo does it. It's going to be a concern for me, man, when they make it there. I haven't checked the calendar. I don't know if there's another OB update. But if that shakes up the meta of the weapons, then okay. But in either way, they still got it done today on the grand finals, which is very important, up against teams that have supposedly challenged them greatly over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, let's see now. Let's see if that challenge will be taken, accepted, as well as pocketed by the team of Mia. Because so far in FFWS USA, they did just that. They bring the throne as well as $10,000 together with a ticket to Esports World Cup. So we're looking forward to see not only from MiaCorp, but all of the teams and also new teams that will be introduced in this competition.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is it. A unsuspecting early end to our day. A shock for everyone. A absolute delightful day for the MiaCorp fans as well as squad. But that is it from us here at the Free Fire World Series USA 2026 Spring Season. My name's AJ. I'm the Mustachio down here with Neptune, the Gentleman Garcia, signing off. We'll catch you at our summer season.